a big comeback for them. They have every right to believe that they can still take first spot as well.
Oh, 100%. Bay have shown us time and time again that they can come out and they can get these big games, and they've got themselves a lot of space right now. They've got a nice split. They've got a lot of zone control actually on the west, being realistically the only team on the western half other than a couple of stragglers being Divine and Game Home right now. So they've got themselves a very nice position, and potentially they can give themselves a lot of ground and a lot of chances to have a big game here.
Big kill for Diane, sends From the Future out in 15th position. Now also sends Divine up to 180 points, and just keep watching that rankings tick away. There goes 80. Burirama out. That 20-point gap will stay at 20 for the foreseeable future. 5 seconds until phase 4. The Fury gets a hard feed. They are close by to Daytrade Gaming, who will also enjoy that feed. Wow, right on top of Fury. If they're going to do something edge, this could be the game to do it. 4 players up. No kills yet, but they are going to have the longevity for this game compared to, say, Diane and Levi's, the duo for Divine. Might just even get hunted down by Bay over on the western side, as you can see on the map. Sophia just moving closer towards the duo for Divine. A lot of teams up north are going to kill each other. I don't suspect this will be a high kill game for Fury unless they go hunting. And from that position, you don't really want to go hunting.
No, that's right. Fury really need to make sure that they're just staying alive for these first circles. If they can keep their 4 players alive into the late game, that's where you're going to start to see a lot of kills coming out. As soon as a lot of the edge teams that will be holding you out get pushed in, you can then push out of your compound, go towards those close by hill ranges and start picking up the kills late game.
Oh, this is a tough spot right now for Diane and Levi. It's just circling around up north. They've walked into the battlefield quite literally in the middle of it. Levi's knocked down by Flash. I'm not sure how much longer Diane's got. Down below 50% health, but gets by the brunt of it. And will be able to play as a solo snake for a while. I don't think that he's going to be able to achieve much more for Divine Esports, though, other than maybe a placement point or 2 or a kill or 2. But at this point, in 4 games to go, that could be the difference between first and second. Who knows? And, well, I hate to bring it up, but as we get closer and closer to a close finish edge, you look at the 2 points that Bay lost, of course, as a ruling earlier in the second weekend. Could that come back to haunt them as they get closer to the top?
Yeah, it definitely could come back to, but they've got a lot of work to do before they can get to that point of it really being a hindrance on them. So for Bay right now, they're not too worried about their points. They just want to do whatever they can. Diane actually very close to Magic Gaming here, as he did move away from his buggy. I think he's decided that this little mound is a better spot to hold. He is between Magic Gaming and Fury. So he'll be trying to get as many placement points as humanly possible here to try and keep that the score differential as large as possible between them and Fury.
12 teams, 37 alive as things just quiet down for the meantime. Division X Gaming wounded for a bit, but Fergus gets off the med kit. Sapau and MBK still by his side. And if Division X Gaming come out of this one alive, they're going to have a whole bunch of kills. You can see it right there. The teams that are going to push through: Cerberus, MSC Theraton, Magic Esports, Diane off in the distance as well. They're the ones on the outer edge. They're the ones who need to do the pushing in. Hisaki in behind. Thank you, and Yoshimamburi for MSC Theraton, holding in that 7th place position. They'd love to climb into the top 5. It's certainly achievable for a team like MSC Theraton. No, they're not going to get first, but 4th or 5th, they could potentially, say, bump out Division X or Victim Rise if they have a really good night tonight. Bay still 0 kills. Hard to believe they've been in the kill feed. They've been getting a lot of shots in, but not able to find that elimination just yet.
No, and that's right. He's holds a position right now that they can play on these high ground hills and potentially hold teams out once the circle closes in. And this is the circle that they needed right here. Nephahor's got himself a position in the zone that overlooks Archangel Predator. It can see Day Trade as well. So this is the point where Bay can potentially start picking up a heap of kills, and especially if it has another shrink back to them and forces a lot of the eastern teams to the west, then it's just going to be open range.
Just want to bring up the fact, though, Edge, I mean, we've both seen a lot of PUBG. Those sort of circles that Fury have gotten here, it's hard feed. it can sometimes spell disaster. If they get it, basically they lose the first fight that they get into, they could actually bow out, say, 4th or 5th with 0 kills, and it's just not really the ideal situation. What do you do here if you're in Fury's position? Just sit tight, hold your ground, hold your position, and just kind of hope things, I guess, fall your way towards the end, and you can get good sight lines on teams and be well prepared?
I think realistically, that's all you can do. If you try and spread out and take a little bit more zone control, you're just in the middle of everyone. There's so many little ridges that teams can be hiding on that it's impossible to clear everything and make sure you're safe in doing so. Yeah. So for Fury here, they're just staying alive is #1 priority right now.
And even a 4 or 5 kill win right now, if they can achieve that, would put them almost level with Divine. 3 games to go. So it's a perfect situation for Fury. They're not worried, and they're not fussed if they don't have a high kill win. You don't need it right now. Loki's with a knockdown onto Momoji. I think Bay, though, would be a team that would desperately enjoy a high kill win, though, to try and just really even things up and not have to do it all in 1 or 2 games and get it close with 3 games to go. And they're in a good position to do so. They're probably the opposite of Fury in the sense that they can rack up kills on the edge of the circle, then push in towards the end. Carbs over the knockdown onto Sophia, and Loki's taken low from a distance from Norrens. And while this is the nature of Miramar, though, especially towards the end of these games, once you really bring it down and take out a lot of compounds and a lot of buildings, it's just open sightlines everywhere to be seen. The smart play probably is get this revive and just try and get all 4 members of Archangel Predator.
Yeah, if they can clean up Archangel Predator here, get those potential 4 kills and move in off that, they can definitely start to wrap their zone and
that nade.
And just clear everything
my
out.
God, what a nade from Killer. Right
perfection.
on top of the head of Flood. Knocks him down. Sophia's eliminated. Down to Loki's and Nephahor. Loki's were knocked down as well. This is well executed from Archangel Predator. I'm not sure if Bay were anticipating for them to come out of the whites. And Nephahor's the last one alive. They're going to go out with 0 points this game. Can you believe it? Bay out surely here with nothing. Nephahor gone. 0 kills, 11th place. That is not how they would have expected this game to go. And phase 6 continues to feed Fury.
Yeah, Bay were looking like they were in such a dominant position, having the high ground above Archangel Predator's compound, but Archangel Predator just got the better of them in this situation. So Bay bows out of what could have been a good game from them. So it's going to take the next 3 games for them to start to catch up now.
10 teams, 31 alive at the 22.5-minute mark. First game of the day for day 6, the final day for PCS2 Apac. Diane still just holding on, is actually inside of this circle, but so many teams up north who will be looking to come down south into the circle. I'm not sure if Diane's in a very safe spot. At least for now it is, though, and that's probably all that matters. Day Trade finding a kill onto Killer of Archangel Predator.
Якісь трансляції вообще гамняна, блін.
Jumping out of the bottom 3.
Ніби 1080 на 60.
So a success. They've been better as the tournament has gone on. Division X, though, backs up against the blue wall. They do have a vehicle close by. It's going to be Sapal getting inside of the Barado. Fergus, MBK, left behind to see what they can do. Diane, the sneaky snake. Has he dropped the backpack? I think he has. It's just a matter of pray. Hold on. Try and get as close to the center as possible so that you don't have to move later on.
Yeah, Diane was spotted out by Fury, and this circle is probably the worst case scenario for him, pushing a lot of teams into his general area. So he's going to have to get pretty lucky here if he survives and makes it to that top 8. But we will see a couple of teams die before this circle potentially closes, as they're all going to be forced into the same general area here.
Calm. 6 kills now for Archangel Predator with a knockdown onto MBK. Division X just slaughtered to the lambs right now. Fergus has made it into the circle, but now with Sapal being knocked down, his 2 other teammates are gone. They're evaporated. And so only 1 remaining for Division X Gaming. 1 kill for Fury so far that they've all only been able to achieve this game. Of course, they've been in a tough position to find kills from, but they've gotten the circle. So they'll get placement points, and then they can get kills at the end of the game. And maybe, just maybe, they might find their first chicken dinner as well. The elusive one. It could be the big one. 25 seconds until phase 7, and Archangel Predator just continue to steamroll the northern side of this circle. Carbs and CJ remain alive, and MSC Theraton are eliminated. Diane's still alive. Placement points being acquired right now for Divine, and every single one is going to matter. There he is up north. The team's close by to Diane, Archangel Predator, and Cerberus, and Basil's knocked down by CJ. They might not even see him. They're just going to look more so to Cerberus. Day Trader no longer in the circle, neither is Game Home. Fury hard fed again, but this is the circle now, Edge, where they've got to get involved. They've got to find some kills because teams like Day Trade and teams like Game Home should eventually come into their sightlines.
Yeah, this is the perfect circle for Fury. This is where they can start potentially picking up kills onto Day Trade. They can't really let Day Trade or Game Home get really strong positions here, because as soon as the teams start to die here, and all of the teams on their west have sort of got their positions on the ridges, it becomes really hard for Fury to actually get out of their compound. So they need to make sure they pick up whatever they can right now, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do so as Day Trade's rotating away and out of Fury's eyes.
Warriors will take out Gen Force. Poochels now puts Day Trade Gaming up to 5 kills. Archangel Predator will go out in 6th place. Diane's still alive for the Divine fans cheering him on. There he is. Insight with a knockdown onto Flash. Diane's got a nade. Could this be a championship-winning nade if he tries to clean up 2 or 3 kills on the Day Trade? Samoy with a nade as well for Victim Rise. Gonna throw that into the pile. Diane's put that nade away, just gonna hold with the barrel, making sure no one spots him. Could very well get Divine into the top 4 and has already acquired 3 points for Divine from being able to just stay alive. And if Fury are not careful, could you imagine the repercussions if Diane gets a knock onto Ronan and Cal? They would be devastated. And look how close Ronan is to Diane. This right now, I know we've still got 3 games to go, Edge, but it feels like the tournament lifeline right now.
Yeah, this is looking pretty sketchy right now, but Diane's doing so much work to stay alive. Obviously, he's not moving, he's not doing anything, but such great positioning from him and just awareness to put himself in a spot where he can get into this top 5 and get placement points. God. Yeah, and if not checked, this can be doom for Fury here.
Jukesy and Insight have stayed at the compound, expecting potentially a phase 8 feed. We'll see if they get it. Game Home as well, out towards the more eastern side. Up north, Day Trade, VTR, and of course Diane the solo. Phase 8 is going to favor Game Home. They could actually be the winners at the end of all of this. And Nade's just going to force Cal away. Ronan's still prone. How close is he to Diane? Very, very close. That's a flash grenade. Not going to do any damage, of course. Chibarette now for Victim Rise. It just feels like at some point Diane's going to just step up and take out a member of Fury, which would be so detrimental for their chances of winning this game. Not only that, but of course, whoever goes out next, if it's not Divine, that's more points gained thanks to Diane's snake play. It's been played perfectly from the get-go. Moved early, dropped the backpack, has done everything right. But of course, Edge, in 12 seconds, Diane is going to have to move.
Yeah, this is go time for Diane right now, so it's really do or die. He needs to try and take out some players before he moves in. I don't know if he'll be able to snake his way past anyone here. But VTR right now have made some big plays. They've got themselves 6 kills on the board. They're 2 points away from Bay right now. This game could potentially put them into that top 4 position. And VTR have been showing so much talent from their roster right now. Seymour and Chiba getting all of their kills right now, so what a work for them to do.
I think he has been spotted by Ronan. Just steps up. Ronan will send Divine out in 5th. No points gained. They're stuck on 183, and Fury have got themselves a target. They're 16 points behind right now. Chibarette knocked down. Clories will get that one, and VTR sent out in 4th. 3 teams remain. Day Trade very much going to not stay alive for much longer. Poochels goes down to Game Home, and we've got ourselves a 4 versus 4. Can Fury find their first chicken dinner for PCS2 Apac? Cal with a knockdown onto something else, and God knew with the refrag onto Insight makes it a 3 versus 3. Still only the 2 kills game for Fury though, but nonetheless,
що тоді Fury виграють, чи що? Були ніби десь там в кінці, а тепер капець як навалюють.
And you get this win. That's like, what, another 8 points? It would make this only a single digits on the total leaderboard. Jukesy, Cal, all still up. Cow's gone back for the revive onto Insight. Something else going to be revived as well. So back to 4 versus 4.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure who has the advantage in this circle. It's so even right now. Game Home does have a lot of terrain that they can play off towards Fury, but Fury's got themselves some really nice positions. If they can catch off 1 or 2 Game Home members, this could be the
4 на 4 вообще.
If you're Fury, do you throw so you can get that second place only storyline?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. Though, of course, if they do lose this fight, they can fall back on that. What a nade, though, from something else.
Всё, заруба начинается.
Not only that, but the damage onto Cow and Ronan, and they're just being peppered by Molotovs. They're in trouble. Jukesy's been knocked down. He was the anchor as well, watching, providing that overwatch for Cow and Ronan. I think that storyline's going to remain. Ronan with a knockdown onto Glorious, but Gotnu gets Cow. They're going to have to find a way in another game, because this one's is Game Home Esports. 8-kill win, and Fury still
Game Home бере перше місце.
It is Game Home. That just provides a lifeline for Divine Esports, and I think keeps that gap between first and second still at double digits.
Yeah, and Fury only picked up 2 kills in that game as well, so they weren't able to get much out of their feed, and they really needed to sort of step up and take out all of the Game Home members to close that gap on Divine just that little bit more. That extra 4 points from a win as well could have come in definitely in handy.
Got to feel a little bit disappointed for Fury there, though. Only the 2 kills, then second place. They fall at the hurdle to Game Home, and really it felt like the entire game for them was set up for that pinnacle moment to come out towards the end, sweep around, find a few kills. It was just unfortunate that Game Home at the very end had that slightly better position, that slight elevation and a little bit more cover, and really punishing him. What a nade though from something else. That really, not just the knockdown, but to do the damage onto the other 2 members of Fury. They played it well, and Game Home definitely didn't stumble towards the end. Look at Fury versus Divine though on the leaderboard here. This is the big thing. 5 and 6 in terms of point. 8 game for Fury, but Divine managed to pick up 7. Buram picked up 5. So really, it kind of feels like now we've got 3 games to go. Not much has changed.
No, not much indeed. With only 1 point gained by Fury on Divine there, it's still very, very close, but it's just looking harder and harder to catch up to Divine. They're getting these kills early on, and then even after losing 3 players, they're getting themselves in positions to start getting placement points as well, which realistically they shouldn't be. So for Divine, that's their saving grace, is that they've got these players that can put themselves in spots that can just slowly get points.
Well, Game Home move into the top 8 now, apparently, and in doing so, they've also picked up their first chicken dinner, which now means, Edge, we've got 8 out of 9 teams have picked up a win in the top 9. The one that hasn't is Fury, still with just 0 wins. 68 placement points.
1700 тих очків я тільки що получив.
14 points behind Divine. Look, technically, they've closed the gap, right? From 15 to 14. But with 3 games to go, that 1 point, will that be the difference maker? If they end up winning at the end of the night by 1 point, there it is. That's the difference. But if they also end up missing out by 3 or 4 points, or 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, that was the difference there by getting the win against Game Home. Wasn't to be, though. Carbs racking up the kills in that game in particular. Noran's doing well for day traders. That was sort of the attitude for this game in particular. Again, Divine, poor game. The teams below them, unable to punish them. And it's been that way for what feels like 2 weekends in a row. Here's the highlight star, of course, first game of the night. We've got 3 more to play out for our final day of PCS2 Apac. And well, things started with Fury and it ended with Fury, but they didn't really do much in between.
Yeah, there hasn't been that much in, and we've seen, yeah, like we see here, Divine just getting those couple of kills. They did lose a couple of members, but they really need to make sure that they keep their members alive going into the late game. They just haven't been able to do it other than that 1 game yesterday where they got that first place. They haven't kept that consistency and stopped from dying early on.
So a lot of the action towards the more northern part of the circle. Trade with a bit of fisheries of that, along with Archangel Predator, and Bay just really letting slip a big opportunity in this game as well. And not just that, but Buram, Division X, all faltering. Victim Rise did okay, nothing too incredible, but in terms of course top place, but it does mean they have gotten a bit of a gap against Division X for that top 5 position. Those were the highlights for the first game of the night. Of course, we got one more game of Miramar to come. Edge, Divine, they just keep finding a way to get 5 or 6 or 7 points, and that's been the hallmark for their season for PCS2 Apac. And I guess, honestly, if that just keeps happening tonight, if they can get, on average, 5 points a game, 5 points a game tonight, that's what, 15 points on top of the 14, that's 29. That kind of sets the tone, do you reckon, for Fury needing to get about 30 points to 40 points?
I think so. I think if they can keep up their averages, it makes it harder for every other team. But still, it's just one game from changing and setting the tone for the rest of the tournament.
Very well could be a donut from Divine coming up, plus a 10-kill win, and then Fury's in first place with 2 games to go. So who knows? You don't want to miss it. We're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our second game of Miramar. Welcome back. We've got one more game of Miramar to play here. And then after that, 2 games of Erangel. So 3 in total. Quick maths. Congratulations to me, Veg, for doing that one. Of course, Divine still leading the way. Not much of a change on the total leaderboard from 15 points down to 14 points between first and second. But sort of like you keep saying, all it takes is that one big game from Fury and they can take that top spot. And the longer, though, that doesn't happen, the more comfortable Divine can probably get towards the end of the night.
I don't think Divine's going to be getting comfortable at all tonight. It's looking a little bit too close
Бачиш,
to
от диви,
comfort.
даже та курточка, що вислали
I'm not sure,
Макатао,
they just
вона
haven't been
як
showing
скін, теж з
that
короткими
Divine that we've been
рукавами.
seeing from the early on in the tournament. It's just not there. So unless they can bring that back, it doesn't look that
Ні, така ще
likely.
біла
They're
є
really
просто
just
з
sort of holding
капюшоном.
on, aren't they? They gave us a
Біло-чорна.
glimpse last night in that 5-kill
Те, що на
win, but
плечах
everything
PCS2.
outside of that suggests that they're just scraping by. Will they scrape by once again, maybe pick up 4 or 5 kills? Or do they potentially maybe put this to bed and come out with one of their big 15 or 16 kill performances like they had done twice already earlier on in this season on PCS2 Apac? If they can do that, Edge, and go and get 20 plus points and make that lead balloon out to 30 something with 2 games to go, then they probably can feel comfortable.
Yeah, it'd definitely take a lot of stress off their shoulders, and I think if you're Divine, you've really got your fingers crossed pretty hard right now to try and get one of those big win games or even a big kill game with, you know, 3rd or 2nd place. It'd make a big difference. But realistically, there's a lot of really good teams out here, and they're all fighting for the same thing. So that makes it a lot harder if you're Divine.
As I said, final game for Miramar tonight. Things can, of course, turn around on Erangel as well. Fury, well, they've dropped their double digits points per map on Miramar after their performance in the last game, unable to crack the 10. They're down to 9.8. Kind of been a theme as this season has gone on. Of course, Fury, Divine both started really strongly on Miramar and have fallen away as we've gone on. And, well, this will be our final Miramar game, and for Fury Edge, they're not quite as well versed on Erangel, at least on the points per map side of things.
Yeah, but they're teams that all of our teams here.
На ПК тільки один склад падає. Я так поняв, вони на тренуваннях, так як Макатао казав, що вони вибирають свій цей кемп, і кожен падає в свій кемп приблизно.
A little bit of circle favor, and you can easily pull your averages up a little bit higher.
Well, the circle favor in the last game, that's for sure, unable to capitalize though. And that's why we always like to say, right, because we obviously see a lot of feeds. Almost every game one team gets fed. And that's why when a team gets fed and everyone's like, oh, you know, they got fed. Well, last game kind of showed sometimes you can get fed. You're not going to get kills for like a good 15, 20 minutes. And then you get into that first fight. And if things go pear-shaped, you can end up 2nd with 2 kills or 3rd with 1 kill. And that's why when you do see teams get fed and they can still go and get like 6+ kills and get the win, it's job done, and they've really earned it.
Yeah, PUBG is all about converting your feeds into wins. Majority of teams, they'll try and put themselves in that position to potentially get a feed like early circles. We do have teams that will play edge and come in late and then try and put themselves in those advantageous how you convert your games. Just so far, we haven't been able to see that from the likes of Fury, where they haven't been able to convert any of their potentially good games into wins, unlike Divine, who has obviously been able to convert 5 of them.
No surprise, the 3 teams we've sort of hovered over: Fury, Buru Ram, and Divine. They've been the focus points tonight, that's for sure. This circle's certainly going to benefit Divine a bit more than the previous one, and well, they've kind of shown that very eastern circle certainly is a disadvantage for them coming from Monte Nuevo, but every other circle elsewhere on the map of Miramar, they do tend to play it quite a bit better. So this could spell bad news for Fury and Buriram for really just kind of slipping up that last game when Divine didn't go and have a massive game. I mean, look, Divine still picked up 7 points, so they had a good game by all sense of the word, just not amazing and not just horrible. So if they can go and have good games for the remainder of the night and go and get 6-7 points, that's what I was trying to say, makes it really difficult for Fury. And they Fury then need to average about 10 points a game to make up the difference.
Yeah, that's right. And especially in a circle like this where Divine will have access to getting into the circle early, Fury is currently in the center. And one of the hardest things as a team, if you're dead center of the first circle when you're looting, it's very difficult to figure out how and where you need to play these first circles, because if you don't have to move much, do you loot for longer? Do you leave early for a high tier compound? All these different factors come into it, and if you make that wrong decision, you can be caught out quite quickly.
Certainly can be the case. Divine going to get on the move early. They may head into Chumacera, or at least south of Chumacera, and rotate through there. Of course, for Fury, they loot in Los Leones, so they're right in the middle of this circle already. But teams are already coming in, of course. They're going to get in early. X Stadium just to their north, and Day Trade just to the south of Fury. So Fury have already got a couple of teams around them. This could very well be a different game for Fury, though, judging on the circle, where they may actually be in a better position to find kills and go and have like a 6+ kill game if things go their way. Even from the get-go, right now, you can already see it kind of on the map out to the right. Veronica driving away from Fury, who are shooting at them as we've sort of just watched Divine drive into Chumacera. Boy, they get the helicopter treatment there as they watch in. Now over to Fury. We don't control the cameras, that's all I'm saying, but Fury hunting
У
down.
них трансляція глючить капець.
Yeah, definitely the smart
Дергається, зараз знову візьме, виключиться.
Especially knowing that it's Fury who's coming after you here. There a lot of potential on the team. And Fury is spreading out now around the Los Leones area, trying to find whatever sort of ground they can to hold and maybe further the chances of potentially getting another circle feed here. But they do run the risk in staying at Los Leones of just being gate kept by a lot of teams. Like if this circle goes to the north, Fury have got to move through a lot of teams, and there's not really a lot of open space that they can gather at the moment.
And it's going to pick up a crate, juicy one. Yes, MK14's not bad, and of course you'll take the level 3 gear as well. Is the MK14
Я в шоці, ну глюки валять.
I think the MK14 is the only pickup from a crate that you have to get in competitive PUBG. Everything else is personal preference. A lot of people don't like to play with the AURM. The AUG is just outgunned by the barrel, so it's not worth picking up. And the Groza is personal preference. A lot of people don't like the Groza, but if I had an AK instead of a barrel, I'd pick it up for sure. I just can't see anyone dropping a barrel for a Groza in any games.
It's certainly the barrel meta for 2020. Flood just spotting something else up on the rooftop. Well, I kind of assume this is going to be on the quiet start to Miramar, which is typically the case. It has been for pretty much the majority of PCS2 Apac. Erangel's different though, and Erangel things can be hectic very early on, and not only that, but of course with 2 games of Erangel to go, we've only had 1 milli zone. If we get another one tonight, that really increases the chances for Fury, of course.
Yeah, Fury like those milli zones, as we see Chieftec setting up a little bit of a rotation camp onto the Division X players. I don't know if they get... Oh, Chieftec actually picks up Fergus there, so nice shots from him there with the SKS, and that'll give them a quick kill on the board nice and early, and that'll put them even with Bay here. So putting them up into that 4th position, getting that with the number of kills they've got. So big start for VTR, and potentially more, as we see VTR pulling up on Long K, trying to get out of this little bit of an issue he has right now.
It's going to be our first death of the game. And first kill for Victim Rise, who are now into the top 4. They've moved away from Division X Gaming. They've now equaled up with Battle Elite. So Victim Rise have been sort of the team that in the second half of this season, over the last 12 games, they have really found an extra gear and they've improved out of sight and out of mind. And, well, they're only 17 points behind Fury as well. Victim Rise are going to prove to be difficult against Divine. It certainly is theirs for the taking. If Buram continue to falter or Fury just let off the pedal a bit, Victim Rise could shoot all the way up to second still over the last 3 games. And that really should be their, you know, their own little flagpole that they've got to set and say, okay, we're not going to get first, but second is certainly achievable.
Yeah, and I think for both VTR and Bay right now, both know that they're lacking by a lot of points. So just the way that they're playing, Bay playing very aggressively towards game home, VTR setting up rotation camps, they both know that they need to have a big game to catch up with the top 3. So they're putting themselves in that position to potentially get more kills than they would normally. So it's a big risk for them, but if their risk pays off and they get rewarded, you know, it can easily push them up into the top 3.
Well, phase 2 not going to change too much. Pretty much central, right on top of the Velocity owners, and well, Astra's thereabouts as well, just on the north side of the city, close behind X Stadium, who have actually got Cerberus Esports pushing into their location right now. 9.5 minutes, second game of the night. If you've just tuned in, 2 more games to go, and it will be our final 2 games for PCS2 Apac coming up on Erangel after this one. Divine currently still leading by 14 points. They started the night 15 points in front of Fury, and right now they're -1.
Yeah, and Divine haven't lost a player yet, so it's been a good start for them, all things considering. They haven't had those early fights, but they haven't picked up any kills yet either. So Divine putting themselves in position to potentially go for a top 8 with multiple members alive, and if they can do that, they can definitely keep this lead high against teams like Fury and Buram.
Ronan's found a kill. That's going to tick Fury over up to 170 points. 13 behind Divine. Slowly but surely creeping up. As you mentioned, though, Divine have got 4 up, and this is a good start for them just to have 4 up at this point, because for whatever the reason it is, Divine have just lately, the second day of last weekend and yesterday and, well, tonight as well, have been getting themselves into bad fights early on and losing players. Even though they kind of get a couple of kills in those exchanges, they still just don't really want to be put in that position. They're a good team and they win a lot of fights, so the longer they can have 4 alive, the more likelihood that they're going to be able to win those fights at the later end of the games and get the placement points with it, which is what they were doing on the first weekend and on the first day of the second weekend.
I think realistically for Divine, the difference being is they're still getting their early kills, and then they're, you know, potentially dying or getting that 1 player, 2 players to sort of play for rank and get placement points. But you're seeing your Furies, your Burams, your VTRs, your Bays, they're surviving through those games, where previously they were just all falling short as soon as Divine's dipped out of the map. So that's your big difference, and that's allowing teams to start to catch up. They're just slowly making those point games, and that's what makes it dangerous for Divine, is just that everyone else is upping their game when you're sort of potentially still just like staying at your averages.
24 seconds until phase 3. If it goes center again, that's going to be right on top of Fury, Day Trade, Archangel Predator, and potentially Astra. Anything out to the west will certainly favor Divine. Anything out to the east, though, is going to make life difficult for Divine. And up north will favor, I guess, the majority of teams. 3 more seconds as we see a push in onto Kaiser Tuna from Victim Rise. And that circle is going to favor quite a few teams. Fury is one of them, but so is Divine. Archangel Predator, Day Trade will be very happy with this. Samoy, Chibarit knocked down. And it's Genforce and Kamel's remaining against Kaiser Tuna. Botbass will collect both of Chibarit and Samoy. And now's about the time where we start to see things kick off on Miramar.
Yeah, and this is the point. This is the circle where all your teams who have been holding big splits are starting to group now. Like, we're going to be seeing our Divines, our Archangel Predator, Fury, all start to join up together and hold their highest and most central compounds. So this is where it starts to get interesting, and through this this breach by VTR, Kaiser Tuna has finally fully regrouped here, and they're going to be looking to take this fight in with full numbers.
Style G's been knocked though. Camel's going to be knocked though immediately as well by Musate, who's been impressive for Kaiser Tuna. Gen forced the loss with life, and I was just speaking good things about Victor Bryce as well. After the first game in particular, they kind of moved away from Division X Gaming, and they have tied things up on the scoreboard with Battle Arena Elites, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to achieve much more. And with only 2 games to go as well, it's not it definitely means they've got no chance of first, and now their chances of second have probably slipped away with this very poor performance here on the final game of Miramar.
Yeah, that's right, but we see Jen playing hide and seek right now with all the Kaiser Tuna players, so he's done really well to let himself survive for this long, but Kaiser Tuna still very aware that he's around, so they're going to be clearing everything out together, making sure they don't lose a player unnecessarily. It's a really good tactic by Kaiser Tuna, not letting him get that insta flush.
Genforce just listening to the footsteps tremble on by. 45 seconds till phase 4. Inside speed knocked by Extreme. Now this is a 3-way battle between Astra, Fury, and Daytrade. This could go horribly wrong for Fury. Ronan, Jukesy, Cal close by to each other. Jukesy's going to be taken very low. In fact, now he's going to be knocked down by the Molotov of Norens, and that's 2 down for Fury. This is not ideal for their chances of catching up to first place for Divine. Jukesy has got the bleed out onto Puchios, and Cal can go and get the revive onto Jukesy. Insight's a bit further back. He's in a safe position. It certainly feels like it should be a safe res to get him back up. It's a matter of getting over there. Of course, another smoke going to be used by Cal. Now I'm going to stick the revive onto Jukesy. Victim Rise will be finally eliminated as Genforce gets cleared out by Musate. Insight, no, it's not a safe res. He's gone. He's eliminated by Extreme. And Divine are going to get the hard feed. And this almost just feels like punishment to Fury, because Divine have got the feed that Fury had in the last game, and now Fury are the ones struggling here. It's a role reversal of what we saw in match 1 tonight.
Absolutely, but the big difference here is Divine's got themselves a really good high point on a hill where they
Бачиш, як то є челіки, стріляються з одними на ангарі, блін, а інші в багатоповерхівках сидять і собі просто піджирають, блін. Плечі настрілюють, блін, якийсь трошки бред такий получається.
To be able to push their way into the following circles, and only as a 3-man it gets a little bit difficult at this point.
2 kills for Fury though, and they at least got the revive to Jukesy, got away from a dangerous position. Zoid, Lynxy, Extreme all just watching down, looking at Fury's position. Can they make their way out of this spot? Divine beneficiaries for phase 4 circle along with Archangel Predator. Division X down to the south. Bay in an okay position. They will have to cross the road. Division X will be watching them do that. Buri Ram will be playing from the south side of the circle. A lot of players and teams still firmly entrenched for this game in particular. Fury wounded, but they're not out of it. 12 points is the gap. They've technically made some ground on it. And really for Divine as well, though, this could end up being similar to what we saw from
Вони так транслюють, знаєш, якби з якогось допотопного комп'ютера транслювали. Мало того, що якість гамно розпливчасте, блимає, то ще якщо зверху показують, воно дригається. Блін, за 200 тисяч баксів в регіоні і не вміти провести нормальну трансляцію з якогось нормального компа, блін.
Yeah, as you said, you might not be able to pick up all the kills you're looking for.
Nordra knocked down by Neffel. That could be an intriguing one to watch between Bay and Beer Ramp down to the south.
От тільки зверху камера показує, воно все дригається.
Couple of teams in the top 6. Can't really say top 5 anymore because Division X have dropped down into 6th position. They can't get back up though. Victim Rise out on 152 points. Division X not too far behind them. Jacob will take out Lynxy though, and Astra going to lose another player down to just, I think, Extreme and Zoidmate. really not too many options as well to send it into the circle. Juxi, I can just see on the minimap taking shots at the Astra vehicle, making their way to the circle. But having a look at Burr Ramp, they've got the Mad Max vehicle selection and time to just send it into the circle and see what can happen. They've got the shack close by, which is occupied by Long K. Sapao out to the far left. Long K does as best as he can, but he's immediately knocked down by Canaxi. Sapao does get one, though, from that Overwatch position. He gets the knockdown onto Canaxi, who is safe for the revive for Edie.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that single player in the hut there. It's on these kind of circles. It is one of those areas that teams will just full send it into if they've got no other real options.
More kills for Fury.
Yeah, that's a good sign as Fury picks up the remaining two players of XS and looks for more now onto Day Trade. Some nice shots coming out from both Waikik and Mukau and the Day Trade player.
No kills at all yet for Divine. Fury have picked up 4. It's a 10-point gap. 2 games remain after this one. They will be played on Erangel. 11 teams, 39 alive at the 19.5-minute mark of Day 6, Match 2 for PCS2 Apac. Divine have got position. They've got the circle. They can certainly finish in a strong manner. There's no snaking this game in particular for Divine. But all it takes is they lose one fight and they can get nothing from this game in a similar manner to, of course, Fury from the previous one. A really good example of the downsides to sometimes getting fed and then not winning that initial fight. Fury going to have to push into Cerberus, though, and they're going to have to keep getting more kills. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, Fury's on the back foot right now, so realistically going for kills here is their only option because it's going to be difficult for them to get into the zone. They are being gate-kept by Cerberus. Basil very close to Juxi here. Juxi going for that peek. Knows the Basil's close by and will pick that one up as easy as it is. Ronan will get that one actually. So Fury starting out strong. They need to get their numbers very close to Cerberus here. They don't want to get caught out in the blue. Waikik and Mukau. Nice knockout onto Haisaki. This is going perfectly. Day Trade with the third party off onto the side, and Cerberus have just split their numbers up, and it's definitely not working out as Fury's putting on that aggression right now.
How many more kills can Fury get before what feels like their timely demise, which could be upon them soon? Although, look, honestly, if they can clear out Cerberus here and hold 3 players up, moving into a potential fight at the Archangel Predator compound, who knows? Things can happen. They're really pushing on to Subang. Blood just gets through to Sapao and MBK. Division X scored in 11th, and they continue to have a poor night. Ronan has to reload the barrel. 1 kill for Juxi, 2 for Cal, 3 for Ronan. Can they finish off Cerberus? Cal with a knockdown onto Ghoul. 1 more remains right in front. It's Ronan! Be like Ronan! And send Cerberus packing. Annihilation. 8 kills for Fury, and that gap now is 7. It's single digits. They're making something happen from nothing. They don't need to get fed. They can just do it from the edge.
Yeah, and right now, Divine's hands are sweaty. They know that Fury's a threat here, and potentially Fury can just keep on walking over teams right now. They've got Day Trade close by. They've got good hill ranges, and they can potentially keep moving up as Ronan gets a nice knock onto Archangel Predator's Memoji. So Fury are really feeling it right now, and realistically, it's about time.
Oh, they get the circle too, Edge. Look at that. Right onto the compound of Archangel Predator. And Divine, they're not in the circle. Look how far they're going to have to travel, and they're going to have to go right into From the Future. What? How quick things can just turn around, and this was what makes PUBG so special. Memoji is low. Fury just keep pushing. Of course, things can change in the blink of an eye. We've just seen that. Cow with a knockdown onto Memoji. Of course, Divine, they're going to have to start moving from their compound, getting into the phase 6 circle. And while that's happening for Divine, Fury are potentially making their own compound on Archangel Predator's house.
Yeah, and Divine is really under threat right now, being gatekept potentially by From the Future and Bay right now. So Divine's got a lot of work ahead of them if they want to get themselves into this next circle.
1 kill.
And potentially pick up some points, because they're 1 team away from being in those placement points, and it's not looking like it's going to be them that's going to survive this circle potentially.
Lauren's knocked out by Nordra. We've kind of forgotten about Buriram, but to be fair, they've been pretty quiet so far tonight. Nordra knocked out. Flash, though, can't get a second. Edie will confirm that one, and we're down to the final 8 teams. Placement points on offer. Bay, right above Divine. Could they send Divine Esports packing? Flood, Sophia. That nade from Turtle, actually really well placed. Doesn't get the reward there for that throw. Well primed from Turtle for that sort of throw. I'm just in awe right now from that one from Turtle. Sophia, they spots one. Headshot onto JN. Divine have got a fight on their hands right now, and it looks like Turtle is panicking. Left, right, where is it going to be? It could be goodnight very soon. It's a flash grenade. Looks away from it, runs away from it. Barrel in hand. Turtle, Diane just trying to run away. Levi's further back. Divine about to just throw this one away. 2 Battle Arena elites who are now up to 4 kills. They've got their own aspirations to achieve. Turtle spotted by Sophia. Quick knockdown. 2 remain for Divine. How have they thrown from this position? It is now a 7-point gap. Knockdown onto Loki's. That's going to come in a handy manner. Calvo picks up another kill. Battle Arena have got 5. Are they going to send Divine out? I think they are. Diane's in the blue. Diane is gone. And so are Divine Esports here for match 2. How quick things can change from a hard feed to they're out in 8th.
Yeah, but it hasn't been all good news as Bay's lost all of their players apart from Sophia right now. Sophia putting up big numbers against Divine right there, and Fury off on the sidelines. They've been getting knocks onto Buriram. They've been taking fights against Game Home. Fury are very, very active right now, and only 5 points the difference between Divine and Fury. And we're into top 6 teams, and Fury's got another circle feed. Well, so this is potentially a top 3 placing that will get them the remaining points, and they should be able to get kills on the back of this as well.
Technically, it's an Archangel Predator feed, right? They still have control of the compounds, but Fury right behind them. They don't have to worry about teams coming in from the blue. They've got their backs in a well-placed position. Buriram are rotating on the eastern side of the circle. Orm in hand for God Meow. That could be a difference maker. Crate hasn't been looted. Close by to Ronan. Has a nice little ditch that he can work from. Same with Cal. Bit of separation between the 3 members of Fury. 5 points behind Divine. That's the margin. Of course, we've still got 2 more games to go tonight. This is not the final game. Just making sure if anyone's just tuned in, but it's still a big one. There's that Orm put to use, though, from God Meow on the Waikiki. God Meow there with the M416 3 times. Switches it over to the red dot. MK14 now for Ronan. Can he put it to good use? Going to be flashed, though, by the flash grenade. Jukesy, Ronan need to stand up here against Buriram. They are a moving force. Ronan gets God Meow, though, but Jukesy's knocked by Nordra. Still 2 players to deal with for Ronan. Can he come away and clutch it up for Fury? Could potentially put them into top spot with 2 games to go. This could be a huge moment, and just not only for Fury, but PUBG history. Can they get into top spot? It's a 1v3. Ronan's going to have to clutch it up big time, and it is at a disadvantage from this position. I don't think he's going to be able to achieve it, despite being like Ronan. They will be at a deficit going into the final 2 games, but it's not a big one. Edie will send out Ronan. Fury out in 5th.
Yeah, not the game that Fury was able to capitalize on. They had a bunch of kills to put themselves into that position, but it just wasn't meant to be in this situation. Buriram coming through and picking those kills up. So really well played there by Buriram. Fury's Ronan not able to clutch up against the 3 very, very hungry players there. So now this is Buriram's game. They can potentially close the gap onto both Fury and Divine. And right now they're only, 11 points away from Fury. So it's definitely doable here.
7 kills for Buriram United. And now our attention turns over to them because, as you said, it's doable. And if they can kind of clean up the rest of this lobby, go and get the win, maybe Buriram can also be within single digits. They could even potentially overtake Fury Edge. I mean, this is set up. These next 2 games are set up to be classics in PUBG history. And Bay aren't too far off that either. What are they? 25 points behind Divine Esports. 2 games to go. Of course, they would have to have massive, massive games. 4 teams, 11 alive here. Phase 8. Right on top of this compound for Archangel Predator. Buriram behind them. From the future still alive, so is Kaiser Tuna, of course, for Archangel Predator from the future. Kaiser Tuna. Those 3 teams are 11th, 13th, and 14th, respectively. So a lot less on the line for them. But Buriram have got so much on the line. And Teddy knocked down by Nordra. Every kill matters.
Absolutely, every kill matters, and Buram's looking so strong coming into this final zone here. Already on to 8 kills, picking up another kill onto TD. It's looking really, really good for Buram. But Archangel Predator does hold the compound. They don't have players left right now, as they've just been picked apart left, right, and center. Kaiser Tuna, a team who has been reasonably strong, being able to pick up some big kill games yesterday on a wrangle. But I think this is going to be making for a really interesting 2 games of a wrangle coming up after this, that's for sure.
4 teams, 9 alive. 8 kills for Buram, and like you said, it's going to certainly make these Erangel games just so intriguing to close out PCS2 Apac, and rightfully, it does feel like we've deserved it, because Charity Showdown, PCS1, both runaway winners. And this is going to go down to the final game. It's as simple as that. There's our final circle here for match 2, for our final game of Miramar for PCS2 Apac. Smokes are going to go out for Kaiser Tuna, but it's all about what can Buram United do. If they go out now, they've got still a rather decent deficit, but if they can capitalize, they can close it to within single digits, potentially tying with Fury. And there's a nice little shot onto Edie, but Nordra just covers him. Nice cover fire. Botbass healing up. God Meow just throwing out the last of the utility that he has available with the barrel. They've all got barrels though. Edie, 77 health. CJ will take out Orkra, and that at least means Buram move into the top 3. Extra placement points now gained for them. 13 points behind Divine, 9 behind Fury. Botbass, though, will send Edie to the floor. God Meow, Nordra, the duo, the headshot onto Style G. The style points for Nordra. Can he get any more? Edie's going to be finished off by Botbass, and now the first aid kit to be applied. 9 kills for Buram United Esports, and coming in from behind, though, it's CJ, it's Killer. They're going to spoil the party for Buram. They'll send them out in 3rd. And Kaiser Tuna will potentially get the win here. They've got the 2 on the higher grounds of this position, and we just sort of bring it all back now, Edge, because no offense to Kaiser Tuna and Archangel Predator, but really not much is going to change for their stories for PCS2, but it does mean, with 2 games to go, 186 points for Divine, Fury on 182, Buram 174. How bloody close.
Absolutely, but for the likes of Kaiser Tuna, they've put themselves into that 10th position right now, and it is very close between 10th and at least 13th, which is Archangel Predator. So Archangel Predator and Kaiser Tuna, they've put themselves in good spots to keep a top placing, and if Archangel Predator picks up this game as they do, this could potentially put them into that top 10 area as well, or at least in the fighting for it.
Winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations to Archangel Predator for taking out that game. Of course, though, the storylines, Edge, the storylines from this one are not with our winner from this game. To be fair, though, Archangel Predator, for the most part, really, you've got to say they got fed a lot that game, but they had a lot going on around them, right? Fury was around them. Buram was around them. They had to still find kills and get out of their compound by the end of it. Still, nonetheless, Archangel Predator, that gets them out of the bottom 2, the bottom 3, and potentially the bottom 4, where they have been stuck for the most part throughout this season of PCS2 Apac. So a big win for Archangel Predator, the team from the Philippines. And well, they haven't been able to sort of back up their performance that they had in the Charity Showdown, obviously, for Archangel Predator. They have finished strongly over the last weekend and now this weekend as well. They've gotten better.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, if you've had a rough tournament and you're coming out now and you're slowly starting to put those games on the board, it's a good sign. It's something that you can carry into the next PCS. PCS3 just is shortly around the corner. So, you know, you don't want to be that team that just, you've had a rough early start, you've had a rough midpoint, and you just give up. You really want to come out and keep on giving it all you can, just so you know that you've got this bit of momentum going into the next PCS.
There's our points from this game. Archangel Predator, 18 points gained for their win. Buram United and Fury, those are the talking points. 14 points gained for Buram United. Fury picked up 13. And of course, where's Divine? Well, they're on the right side of the bracket. 3 points gained. I mean, that's just not good enough. And they continue to really let this lead that they once had at one point was in the 50-point margins. It's down to 4. 4 points is all that separates them. And well, the donut of chicken dinner for Fury continues to also be the case. Could you imagine they leave it to the final game, Edge, to get their win and to get that crown away from Divine Esports? But one thing I want to just point out, and this is the thing I love the most more than anything. Look at the top 5 teams: Vietnam, Australia, Thailand, Indonesia, I mean, and also Malaysia with Battle Arena Elites. All 5 of those teams from 5 different regions. You love to see that. CJ with a big game, 950 damage. It was all Ronan and Cal though for Fury. Nordra stepping up big time for Buriram United, and Flood, big moments for Battle Arena Elites from that match 2 performance.
Yeah, Fury putting up some big numbers, especially after losing Insight extremely early. They got an absolute monolithic amount of kills there, and it was great for them. So hopefully they can carry it over to Erangel, a map that they haven't had the best showing on, but they've shown that they can have good games on it as well. So there's a lot of potential there, and like you said, they could leave it till that last game and make it an absolute nail biter before they pull the chicken dinner out of their hat.
Match highlights here for day 6, match 2, our final game of Miramar, of course. And well, Buriram United ended up picking up a whole bunch of kills on the eastern side of the circle towards the end. It was Bay who sent Divine packing early on in the midway portions of that game. Diane tried to do everything he could from the blue, unable to do so. Bay ended up winning that fight. But of course, it came down to Buriram versus Fury at one point, and that was a fight to be held. And Ronan ended up being in a 1v3 situation, couldn't clutch it. Archangel Predator with a 1v2 win in the end for that one. Match 2, Miramar in the books, and Edge. It's now set up what is the penultimate second last game of PCS2 Apac, coming up very soon on Erangel. After that, of course, then there's only one more to play.
Yeah, it's really down to the wire now, and I mean, every team, they've just got to step it up. They really need to do whatever they can to pull out these points. Realistically, no matter what position you're in, you want, even if you're in the 10th spot, you want to have good games to hold that 10th spot. The higher you are up, the more money you get. And at this point, if you're not fighting for that first, second, third position, you want to try and get yourself a little bit of extra money.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to try and make sure you guys stick around, because after the break, we head over to Erangel for our final 2 games of PCS2 Apac. 2 games to go for PCS2 Apac. We're heading to Erangel very, very shortly. 4 points is the difference between first and second right now. Divine Esports just barely holding on. At one point, they had a 50-plus point lead that's now diminished down to 4 points. That's, of course, Fury right behind them. Buriram United, though, Edge are also right on their heels, and we're going to get straight into the game. Match number 3 tonight. Erangel, are things going to change for Divine? Are they going to find the form that they once had? Or is Fury, or maybe Buriram, going to run over the top of them here in the final 2 games of PCS Apac?
Yeah, it is about as close as it can get right now, and I'm loving every single moment of it. I love these close games. I love the close competitions where anyone can come out and win. And in the APAC region, we just haven't seen that before. So it's an absolute ripper to be able to watch them right now.
Well, playing paths are not going to be too displeasing for any teams. Everyone should be pretty happy with this one, unless you're around Gaka Fields, Georgia Paul region, I guess, maybe. There's the points per map, by the way, which we have been speaking about on Miramar, which on Miramar was 9.8 for Fury, on Erangel 6.1 for Fury, whereas, of course, Divine are basically the same. They play Erangel and Miramar roughly equal, according to the points per map. Of course, Bay still on 10.4. This could be where they bring it home. We saw it on the very first night, all the way back 3 weeks ago. They picked up 40 points in 2 games of Erangel. Could Battle Arena Elites do it once again?
I definitely think they've got the potential. They've shown time and time again that Erangel is their map, so if they can come out here and they can have a good start, there's potential for that over those 2 games that they can close the gap. So that's going to be what they're wishing for at the moment. So let's see if they can do it.
Final opportunities, final moments, final chances, of course. 1 game after this, but you don't want to leave it down to that last game. So much mental pressure can be put on you as a team. You can see actually the playing path definitely not doing any favors for Gaka and George Ball. Like I said, everyone else just more so middle and eastern side of this current circle. Fury, of course, going down to the military base. They'll be able to come in through the lighthouse side bridge as we have a look at Diane looting up at the red building, J-End, and Divine still hold that top spot. I can't recall. It was definitely on the first weekend when they took it. It was Day Trade Gaming who had the top spot, and then Divine took it away from them, and since then have not relinquished it until maybe now. Could you imagine holding it for like 15 games, Edge, and then you lose it on that final game? That would be just heartbreaking for Divine. They've got their hope in their own hands, though. The destiny is still in their own hands. If they turn things around and they play like they know they can play, they can still win this.
They definitely can, and it would be absolutely devastating to have that ripped away from you right at the end. But I don't think they're going to be letting that happen, or they're going to try not to let it happen at least, as they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to try and get every single point that's humanly possible to try and avoid losing this lead.
As we look at Fury, of course, down in the military base, they have only had 1 military base circle. It wasn't even military base, it was just Sosnovka Island, I guess, and that's been since Charity Showdown, just 1, and that was yesterday. So even PCS1, they didn't get a single circle down in Sosnovka Island, and for the majority of PCS2 as well. So this is actually one of the closest circles for it, since they don't have to worry too much about time. They've got plenty of time to go and loot. Averaging 3.5 kills, but their damage doesn't back up their kill stats. They get a lot of damage, Fury, but they just struggle to convert the kills. And, well, that's probably been their downfall. With now this game and 1 more to go, and the points being as little as it is, it's not a matter anymore. Just finish the job, 2 games to go. Over to Buriram United, though, they're the team in 3rd place, 174 points, and had a great game to close out Miramar. 12 points behind Divine Esports, which is essentially nothing with 2 games to play. And they've also been another team that's doing really well in terms of the damage. They've picked up 3 wins, and quite honestly, they've been the most well-rounded team for 2020, I reckon, throughout APAC.
Oh, 100%. Throughout their showings in all of the PCS from PCS1 to the charity event, they've always been up there. They've always been consistent, and that's why teams and and players like have really rated Buram as like a top 3 contention team, and it really shows now. And that goes for the likes of Fury, who they've had that consistency as well. They didn't start Charity off how they wanted, but coming into PCS1, they put up some numbers and made a name for themselves. The only other team that realistically people had up there as well was Cerberus, but Cerberus haven't been able to show us anything so far.
Cerberus in the bottom 5 at the moment with 2 games to go. Battle Arena Elites, great finish as well for them on Miramar. They did everyone a lot of favors that are below Divine by taking them out pretty early on in that final game of Miramar. Divine only picking up the 3 points, I believe, the 3 points or so in that last game of Miramar. So that was courtesy of Battle Arena Elites, who also had a pretty decent game themselves. And coming over to Erangel, this is where they just seem to perform a bit better. And there are a lot of teams like this that can perform better on Erangel versus Miramar. Vice versa. You've obviously got some teams that prefer to play on Miramar than they do on Erangel. So for Bay, expectations just that little bit higher here on Erangel. And, well, they've shown us in the past they're capable of big performances in 2 games. There's the champion prediction, though. Below 50% for Divine. At one point, it was 82% win percentage chance for Divine has plummeted. Fury, of course, second, and Buram in third.
Yeah, and then it drops off from there, but going into the 0.62% for Bay. So this looks like a 3-horse race, but still, like, even with 2 games, realistically, we can have anyone from possibly 4 to 5 winners. So this can go any which way right now.
Levi's, Divine, can they get into... Well, if they get into fights early, which they have been doing, they need to try and stay alive. That's the biggest thing. Obviously, they've been able to go and get 5-6 kills here or there, but then they lose out too many players, and then they're unable to achieve much more than that. I'd rather honestly see Divine get like 2 or 3 kills, not get the squad wipe, but keep all 4 members alive. So less on the kills, but keeping their players alive.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. The goal for every game is to try and keep 4 players alive as long as possible. If you do have to lose 1 or 2 players, you want to be trying to get as much return on that as possible, and potentially, 3-4 kills. So it's definitely possible, but Divine has been that kind of all or nothing team when it comes to the early game. And here we see a little bit of a bridge camp actually coming out from XS onto Fury. So this could spell doom right now for Fury if they lose a couple of players here. Juxi does get taken down. Nocturne takes down Inside as well. So this is a terrible start for Fury. This is definitely not what they needed on their first game of a Wrangle. And that's the problem with Fury Island.
Відгребли на мості 2 втратили челік.
The potential for teams to bridge camp is just far too high. This is the biggest threat. And X Stadium don't care. They're in last. They'll bridge camp you. They don't give a damn.
Yep. Well, X Stadium doing a fine job for their countrymen in first place for Divine Esports, camping the bridge against Fury. They'll get 2 from that. Waikiki Mukau and Ronan stay alive on Sosnovka Island. X Stadium, job done, as you said. Last place, but doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. And they will be able to punish Fury. They did check it. They definitely took their time on the bridge, but X Stadium were even more paramount on making sure they get that bridge camp, and they executed it pretty well, all things considered. I think we've both seen the amount of times you try and go and get that bridge camp, and just one person maybe gives away their position a little early or shoots too early, and then the team coming over the bridge can back off. But they really allowed Fury to get all the way towards the lighthouse before they started shooting. Didn't give up any sort of position.
Ще 1700 дали тих поінтів.
They stayed prone behind those cinder blocks and didn't peek for any kind of information. They knew that Fury needed to come across the bridge, and they just waited. It does get risky though when you're XS if a team comes behind you, but this time they were extremely fortunate that didn't actually end up happening.
Only 2 deaths of the game so far. Sophia just letting out some wild shots of Battle Arena Elites. Well, phase 2 is going to show itself very shortly, and it does now on top of Battle Arena Elites. Divine as well, going to get a decent circle. Victim Rise over at the Yellows, well placed too. Now, Buriram's the interesting one, though, because they're close by to that farm region, all the way out to the eastern side of this circle. They can actually play from that position pretty well for a team that likes to come in from the edge. They're not going to have many, if any, teams actually coming in from behind them at all.
Yeah, this is pretty good here for Buriram to work off. They can play the late game and push in after teams have sort of left their areas. Here you have Bay maybe spreading out a little bit more, putting some control onto that hill, and that's where Buriram can really capitalize and start to catch people out. So it'll be good for them. They've taken a big split. They know that their eastern side is clear, so they can do realistically whatever they want here.
30 seconds until that blue's going to start moving. There are the yellows. Not quite yellow anymore, but Cerberus and X Stadium both inside of that, trying to share that position. Just looking at the map, Ronin and Waikik Mukau still on Sosnovka Island. They're not inside of the circle, but they're not strapped for time. Still a portion of Sosnovka Island inside of this circle, but they're in a bit of trouble this game. For Fury, it's going to buy time for Divine to gather some points. That's something Divine still need to do. Even if Fury aren't going to overtake them this game, they still need to get separation, a decent amount. They need to get about 8-10 points, you would think, to feel comfortable going into the last game. That would then require Fury to go out and have a big one to finish it off to try and steal that game. But if Divine don't get anything from this game edge, then it's almost like this game doesn't really matter. Fury will then obviously be ready to go for the last game, expecting bridge camps. Maybe they don't even go military base. So Divine have got to sort of make hay while the sun shines. Turtle knocked down by Nando. Cheeky nade from the future. Has a smoke. There are, of course, remonstration nades coming out from Divine. Turtle's able to creep behind this crate. Getting the heal up by JN. Nando's just pushing this. He does not care. Look at him go. Nade going to be thrown in as well. That's going to miss completely, though. Turtle struggling to even get a heal or a chance to heal. JN taken very low. Nando's knocked down. So is Tene as well. JN does an amazing job for Divine to get the double. Orca and man from the future just throwing everything they've got at Divine. That nade's going to knock down Turtle. JN still up, though. If he goes down, they're down to just Diane, who's not even really here. He's on the south side of Pachinki. Divine are really struggling in this fight right now. But they should be able to get the revive onto Turtle. JN heals up. And Diane's coming in for the reinforcements in interesting style with the Dacia. Makes his way in. No kills yet for Divine.
Yeah, this is a pretty rough situation for Divine here, as they've got themselves stuck around this pole, and from the future is looking very aggressive right now. Another nice nade coming out from Teddy onto Diane.
How many they've got?
They've got a lot of nades right now, and Walkenen's got the M249, so he's going to be a threat coming around this corner, taking some shots, getting the knockout onto Turtle. JN, last man surviving for Divine. Tede comes out, not able to pick it up.
This is a huge moment right now. If Divine are going to go out here, they get nothing from this game. JN gets Teddy. Is that a seat swap? Never mind, I tell you. Random Dacia Defiant at the last second sends JN packing only 2 points gained for Divine. Fury are still alive. Divine are out. 6 points is the margin. Defiant from the future will send Divine out in last.
If you're Fury or Buriram, you're absolutely fist pumping right now. This is the best case scenario, and especially for Fury, who needed to gain some points here but lost 2 players early. Just seeing this gives you hope going into the last game that you don't need to make up that much. This could have been a potentially big game from Divine, and they're just taken out extremely early by a very aggressive from the future.
Fury making the swim now. Cow, they would have seen what's happened. Fury would have checked the numbers. They know Divine are out. And of course, Fury themselves are going to struggle to get points this game. Ronan just keeping Overwatch's. Cow's going to make the swim. Now, one thing I'll say, I can see the map here. Cow's going to be very safe swimming in underneath this bridge. There's no team at Lighthouse. There's not even a team at the fire station, the petrol station. That whole area completely open. So Ronan's going to actually be able to just drive across. Fury are going to have 2 inside of the circle. Now, I still think they're going to struggle to get much from this game because it's still very early days. Like trying to get placement points, 6th or 7th or 8th or anything, it's going to be tough from here, but we'll have to see what they can do. Of course, this also opens the door dramatically for Buriram United. 14 points behind Divine. Linksy with a knockdown onto Momoji. Carbs does get Zoid, mate. There's the refrag, 1-for-1. And Carbs is, though, immediately knocked by Linksy, so makes it a 2-for-1 in the end. As Division X Gaming just sort of roll on out like Autobots away from the Yellows. Now, are they going to hold out at Cliffs? No, they'll hold out at the Woods section. CJ knocked down onto Extreme in that fight. Cow's made it over, by the way, no longer swimming. He's now on land. And Ronan's going to drive across the bridge. He'll be safe. Phase 3, 58 seconds until Phase 4. Really good position right now for Victim Rise. They're going to get the feed here, Edge.
Yeah, they definitely are. The circle's got to come pretty much central to the north. So there's going to be a lot of teams already prepared for this. For the likes of Fury, they're really going to have to try and find some sort of gap to just weasel their way through. And it's not looking that likely, as you do have a large amount of congestion in the central area of the circle currently. So it's going to be rough for Fury, but if anyone can do it, I'd have a lot of faith in these two, in Ronan and Cal. They're just such talented players.
Day Trader very close by. Veronica's just pushed into the petrol station. And he's heard the commotion. He's heard the vehicles. Now, they've gotten into that UAZ as a duo. They're going to go right past Day Trade. I actually am going to put the money here. I think they're about to be eliminated. I think Fury are about to go out. They've gone straight into Day Trade. The one team they needed to avoid. Look at it on the map there as we look at the circle make its way into Phase 4. They're in the blue as well, so even just getting damage on, as you can see, onto Cow, who's going to be knocked by the blue. If he can't get a heal off, he just gets out too quickly, or even by the blue. Ronan will survive, though. He gets away. In fact, if he can just send it into the field right in front of him, Edge, he can find a position to snake and stay alive. If he just sends it towards the middle, gets out, drops the backpack, and tries to do what Diane did over on Miramar there in one of the earlier games.
Yeah, he's got himself a nice little dip that he can play in for now, but I'm not sure how long that lasts. And especially with a lot of teams starting to make their way over towards this field, Day Trade knows he's the last player and potentially makes a big play to eliminate Ronan from the game.
Killer with a similar idea. Ronan, of course, just looking for any kill he can find, but it does give away your position, though, when you make those sort of shots. The UAZ, although Veronica, hello, drive-by, right, just goes past him. Ronan ran away at the right time, but he's just been swatted, hunted down by Day Trade. Fury are out. 6 points. That is the margin going into the final game to come. Buriram still alive. They can, of course, not only overtake Fury this game, they could even go into top spot this game. Bay have also sort of gotten a bit of a chance here in this final game to catch up to the top two. But their points are set, Edge. No more. 188, 182. 1 game to go. Fury got nothing this game. Divine got 2 kills.
Yeah, and this is definitely a good chance for Buriram to try and close the gap onto both Fury and Divine, as well as Bay. They've put themselves in on this fight against Magic Gaming. If they can clean this up quickly and pick up some kills, they can definitely convert this over. But it does look like Buriram's coming in from behind to third party this fight, so it's going to be rough for Bay here. Even if they pick up the kills onto Magic Gaming, Buriram's just going to be there to swiftly clean them up as soon as the fight's over.
Well, if that does happen, big kills potentially coming up for Buriram United if they can get involved and clean up. Sophia, that first aid kit not going to get off in time. Does go down to the blue. No kills yet for Buriram United Esports, but like you said, can really clean up here. Battle Arena Elites just trying to divert from this situation. They've got Magic Esports on one side, Buriram United on the other side. Got Meow with that initial knockdown onto Flood, and it just feels like Bay are lambs to the slaughter from both sides. But Nefahor done a great job to push up. Oh, Nefahor, Jesus, is back on the third day at the final hour when Bay need him. He has returned and now turns his attention to Buriram United. 3 of the 4 kills for Bay. Lokis is up behind the tree, and how things can change quickly. Now Buriram United still need to push through Nefahor, but a quick headshot from Nordra sits him down. And Loki's behind the tree, not long for this world. The Molotov just pushing him off the tree with the smoke. Kanaxi pushes up, applies some bandages. 2 kills for Buriram, and it should be 3 very shortly.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying, that Boomerang were going to capitalize as soon as that fight was closed over between Bay and Magic. They just came in while everyone was weak and just picked off all the stragglers. Now it's all left up to Loki's, and there's realistically not a hope in the world of him getting into this next circle. Maybe he potentially picks up a knockout here, but I don't know how likely it is. He will actually get one knockout, two knockouts. Not able to flush anything out. Oh, he actually does he get a flush there? Does he get a flush onto Nordra? He does.
No, Canaxi's still alive. Edie's going to bleed out, though, but Canaxi stays up. Only the 2 kills for Buriram, but Bay have done the job. They've been able to wipe out most of Buriram. They will stay in. They will stay alive as 2. But how much more can you really expect from them from this game in particular now? Kind of like what we saw from Fury earlier on as 2, running around. You just kind of couldn't really expect them to do much more. Eventually got hunted down, and Buriram's final 2 players alive are going to be in a similar predicament now. Where can they go from here?
Realistically, not very far, because this circle has not been favorable to them at all. Realistically, Buriram has to try and take a fight towards From the Future, push down towards the road that separates the 2 hills, but it's going to be so difficult for them just as this 2-man to make any progress, especially with the likes of Game Home on the top of this hill, just holding them out.
Phase 5, second last game of PCS2 Apac here, day 6, match 3. There's only one more game after this. It is the final day, the final games, the final moments, but Bass is going to bleed out. Nando From the Future spots the 2 members of Buriram United at the tree. They're not inside of the circle. Minute 20, Blue is moving. From the Future, 4 kills. Of course, when they picked up the 4 on Divine at the beginning of the game, Noctan's gone. Rossetta Jr. picking that one up for MSC Theraton, who are now up to 124 points and edging closer to that top 8, looking to overtake Day Trade Gaming. Nando, though, taking a tag from Edie. Canaxi and Edie are going to work really, really hard to get away from this situation. And the best bet is to get the knockdown onto Nando. They do just that. Canaxi, headshot. Nando's down.
Нагадую, то третя ігра вже. Було 2 Мірамарі, то третя ігра Ерангель. Ще одна буде 4-та Ерангель.
Buriram a lot of space here, and especially because Game Home has actually left the top of the hill, Buriram's got a lot of room for movement, and it's looking like they're potentially able to pick up the kill onto Defiant here as well if they can close the gap. Edie is pushing over, looking for that potential frag, but just going up for a little bit now. Defiant is in a little bit of a rough spot, being shot at from the field by Game Home as well, and Day Trade also. So it might be an extra kill on the board for Buriram, closing that gap towards Fury.
VTR probably going to have to leave these compounds, though. They've been in there for a while. Can't expect them to stay in. And this also means it's going to be a very open sort of finish. And definitely see this getting quite bloody towards the end. Edie Canaxi are not going to be the only ones that are going to struggle to get into this circle. Question is, will they get placement points? Edie just spots the final member of From the Future, Defiant. I'm not sure if he's long for this world now. The question is, who picks up the kill? There's a few eyes on him. Game Home is the other one. Gets in the UAZ, and there it is. It's Game Home. It's Glories. Gets the headshot. Steals the point away from Buriram. It's a very vital point stolen. 10 points, by the way. Edge, there's your update now. Is the margin. 178 to 188. Buriram 4 points behind Fury. This is not just a battle of second versus first. It's going to be a 3-way battle in the final game. A 3-way battle to see who takes the top spot for PCS2 Apac.
Absolutely, and what we're going to find this game, as this circle closes, we're going to go from 8 teams to potentially like 3 or 4 teams very, very quickly, as most teams are forced out of their current compounds. They're forced out of their little haystacks that they've got to play now, and they're just going to be trying to fight for any kind of position possible. So we're going to drop a lot of teams that we're starting to see. Vision X Gaming popping off on some kills towards XS, MSC taking out Day Trade as well. So a lot of trading going out right now, all in a very short amount of time.
X Stadium going to be eliminated. 7th position. 6 teams remain. A lot of them are actually inside of the top 10. In fact, now with them taken out, X Stadium, all of them that are alive are in the top 10. Edie knocked out. Canaxi just trying to use that UAZ for cover with the tree as well, but they're just going to be eliminated by God Home or Game Home. I think God Home right now just really sums it up. God knew behind the tree. Cloris and Selfie just going to be able to move over to the other side of the road, get to that better position. Now, Victim Rise, of course, they've got 4 players alive. Not only that, but they've probably also got a lot of utility still available. Haven't been in a lot of fights, and this is going to be the benefit for them towards the end of this game, when a lot of these other teams, Edge, have been fighting, they've been struggling, they're wounded, just trying to stay alive, just trying to get into the circle. Victim Rise are, what, 8 points behind the top 4, looking to overtake Bay. And what, I mean, I don't want to go out on the limb here and say if they can clean up and they can win this game, maybe with 1 game to go, if they have another similar performance, could still finish first. We could have a 4-way run at it.
There's definitely potential for it. There's a lot of teams that can do a lot of magic right now, but it just seems unlikely the way our games have turned out so far. And especially on this last day, we've seen a lot of high placements and high kill games from our lower portion of the leaderboard. But as this circle does come down and feed towards VTR, I definitely say that they're in the strongest position in this game. And if they can pick up majority of these kills, who knows? We're going into the last game. We could have a potential 5 teams that can win.
VTR would obviously need like a big 15 or 20 kill win, even if they can wrap up a lot of the points here, including kills and the chicken dinner. Gemfos with the Groza close by. You can see they're like 5 first aid kits, 4 first aid kits, all the smokes, all the nades. They've got the circle. From this position, with 4 players alive versus 2 teams with 2 and 2 teams with a solo, you've got to win this game. It's as simple as that. Victim Rise can't be losing from this position. It's just a matter of how many kills they can get. There is 6 kill potential on the table if they can, of course, wipe the entire server. That's always a bit difficult to kind of suggest them to do. So what you would think, we'll give them half. That gives them 3 kills plus the win, which is, I don't know, from here, that's like, I don't know, maybe another 8 points or so. Let's say they can get to 168 points, Edge. We'll put them on that. 20 points behind Divine. Can they do it? 1 game to go.
Yes, but I feel like it's unlikely. I feel like Victim Rise has been having good games, but I think that all Victim Rise's circumstances need to come from your top 4 teams dropping out extremely early, and I just don't see that happening in the final game.
Yeah, that's really need like a 15 or 20 kill win, but it's possible. And because of themselves putting them in that position, at least going into the final game, knowing it's possible is such a big accomplishment for Victim Rise, which, you know, the first weekend, they just didn't look up for it. They didn't look like they belonged. And then they've just turned things around, and they've been so impressive over the second weekend and now the third weekend as well, that deservedly, they're going to go into the last game, obviously needing a huge win and a huge game, but there's not many other teams that can give themselves a chance with 1 game to go. You know, it's only really VTR, Booram, Fury, and Divine. Everyone else, you're done.
Yeah, that's right. And this game looks like it's going to be closed out by VTR.
And Bay,
so...
maybe Bay as well. But
well,
Bay's in the same position as VTR.
Yeah, that's right. We've known Bay to come out and have those, 17 kill wins, something ridiculous. So, pull one of those out of the hat and it could be yours. So it's going to be very interesting coming into this last game.
Там 2 одиночкам жопа проти 4, тут вже без шансів. Але питання, хто друге, третє місце займе.
Just falling short. It's just not going to happen, I don't feel.
Well, Victim Rise, 4 kills. Now, Fergus still alive for Division X, but they have... Well, they've dropped off in this final weekend. They put themselves in a position coming into the final weekend that Division X Gaming could have a real shot at it.
Тому треба краще вибігати. Саме більше він запалиться. Напевно, займе 3-ю сходинку.
They've just fallen away too far now to really think about that. Top 6, though, still a decent finish for Division X Gaming. This is just taking its time to slowly wind things out. Of course, when you've got 3 solos and a team with 4 up. I mean, VTR, of course, don't want to do anything too silly here. So they're playing this the right way. It's slow, but it's the right way to finish this one off. I don't know how many more kills they're going to get, though. The question is, do they spot Yanku? Does Yanku then get God and then potentially die to the blue? Obviously, Genfos has got him behind the shack. So there's every chance, though, Yanku 2 off just dies to the blue here as well. There's little to fight for here.
Yeah, I definitely do see the potential for, realistically, all three of these players just to deny themselves to the blue zone. If they know that it's a 4-man of VTR up on the hill and they've got not much
то 3
chance,
одиночки.
then they're just going to deny the point. And I think it's definitely the smart play in this situation. And VTR is playing it smart by not overextending, not giving any of the snakes a chance to sort of pick up anything from them here.
Well, they got one
to just cod to
and
go
they'll get two. Hello? It's 1v2. Okay. Ooh. Just got the heart racing there a little bit towards the end with a quick double kill from God Knew of Game Home, but no, it's Victim Rise who take out the penultimate game. There's only one game remaining. Victim Rise, though, with that win, Edge have put themselves in a position going into the last game where if they can have a huge game, if they can have a monster finish in the final game, they do still give themselves a chance, potentially, for that crown. If not, then of course, second, third, or still very much a viable option. They've got the most work to do, though, of the top 5, but that's what it feels like going into the final game, that there's 5 teams that can all realistically win it. 3 have got, of course, the most majority of the chances.
Yeah, that's right. VTR did put themselves into that 168-point gap that you were talking about, so you know, maybe you're just a prophet. Maybe you can
on the money.
Read the game better than anyone else. So this last game's definitely going to be interesting. And I mean, if we drop teams early, if we drop Divine early, and then we have something like Fury drop early or something crazy like that, you know, it's all possible.
Yeah,
it's just going to be absolutely insane.
What a game, though. There's the match leaderboard. Victim Rise, 16 points gained, and it has set them up. Not only would they have to repeat a 16-point performance, it had to even go beyond that. It has to be, as I said before, I think about a 15-kill win would be required for them to take top spot. It does come down to, though, what happens with Divine in this game. They only picked up the 2 points. Fury, dead last on 0, tied with Kaiser Tuna, but the reprieve knowing that Divine didn't get anything either. Buriram United, 5 points. It's something. It did reduce the gap. It's 9 points between Buriram United and Divine, so single digits there. Obviously for VTR, 20 points is the gap, and for Battle Arena Elites, who picked up 5 kills that game, they are 22 points behind Divine. There is the total leaderboard. Not only that, but this is set up. Edge, Fury have not picked up a win. Could you imagine they win the final game to take top spot to get their first chicken dinner? It's all set up for them. The fairy tale finish, potentially, for the team from Australia. But again, you can see that top 5, though. Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia. That's really good representation for the Apac region to see 5 different regions all performing at the high end.
Absolutely. That just shows how strong the top teams from each region really are. And they can come out here and they can put up big results against everyone else. There's no real top region that stands out above the rest. They're all on such a high level of play that, you know, any given day, anyone can come out and win this. It's just so close.
It's so close, and it's just set up right for that grandstand finish, potentially, towards the back end. Of course, Game Home doing very well in this particular game. Let's go to the highlights, though, for what was our second last game of PCS2 APAC, Match 3, Day 6. And, well, from the future, certainly saving the behinds of Fury and Buriram, the teams below, by winning this fight, only allowing Divine to get the 2 kills.
Yeah, that's right. This is big from the future. It really allowed us to have this extremely close finish, because if you let Divine survive there, who knows what's going to happen. So it's just, I think that play might have been a game changer, and such aggressive play. It was a very messy fight.
Задають, а я не можу поняти, про що там мова йде.
Of course, Battle Arena Elites, it was almost the return to Jesus there from Nathorhon.
А, блін, діло в тому, що немає як скопіювати з плеєра, а як буду писати, то все. Там дається всього 2 хвилини часу.
To set them up for a finish as well, and it was Game Home who, well, almost gave me a heart attack there with the 2K. Could have potentially spoiled the party for Victim Rise. Didn't quite do so though. 1v4 always very, very difficult there. So Victim Rise come away with the chicken dinner, something that Edge Fury have not been able to do. As we go to the break, just I want your prediction here. What happens? Who's the winner for PCS2 Apac?
I feel like it's obviously going to seem like favoritism coming in and saying that, you know, Fury's going to come out and win. I don't think Fury's going to get the win. I think Divine's going to have a rough game again. And I think Fury or Burem's potentially going to pick up enough kills to just scrape over Divine, maybe 1 or 2 points in it.
Potentially. I mean, if you want my prediction right now, I do feel like Divine might just hold on. It feels like to me that they can have a couple of games in a row where they do struggle, but then they just get that one where everything clicks for them. There's a big opportunity for them here, Edge, as well, that if Divine do continue to slip up, though, then that's it, right? Like, this is it. This is the final chance. But if they show us what Divine is made of, then they will please all the hundreds of thousands of fans who obviously chose them for the pick'ems.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to, that's for sure.
All right, we're going to go to the break. When we come back, we will be getting into the final game of PCS2 Apac. You do not want to miss it. Welcome back from the break. This is the final game of PCS2 Apac coming up very, very shortly, Edge. It's taken 23 games to get us here. And in those 23 games, we've hardly got ourselves a front runner. Divine Esports, 188 points. In second place, Fury, 182 points, a 6-point margin. Then in third place, Buriram, 179 points. They are 9 points behind Divine. And then for VTR and Bay, well, 20 and 22 points respectively. Those were our 5 teams in this final game. Of course, they're for VTR, and of course for Bay, they will need something rather exceptional in this final game. For the other 3, it's anyone's guess.
Yeah, what an absolutely roller coaster it has been. We've seen massive leads from Divine to the gain from everyone else. It's been pretty much perfect in regards to what you sort of want from competitive PUBG. It's had absolutely everything, and it's great to see how close it is right now.
Well, this is it. Final game of PCS Apac. The final day, the final game, the final circles, the final moments. Who is going to be crowned the winner of Apac for this PUBG Continental Series? It's match 4 of day 6. The final countdown on Erangel to close it all out. Will it be Divine and their hundreds of thousands of Pick'em fans? Will Fury or Buriram spoil the party? VTR or Bay from left field? We are in the final plane. This is it. It's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, this is an absolutely interesting plane. Yeah, teams like Fury won't be able to make their regular drop spot towards Military Island, so I wonder if this is a good opportunity here for Fury to potentially hot drop Divine.
I don't know if Fury's in the... we spoke about this, of course, in the earlier games, whether or not do you hot drop or not hot drop. What's the play? I think we both came to the conclusion that if it's an even sort of figure, and which in this case it is, you've got to just back yourselves in. If they were further behind, it's like VTR and Bay. Do they hot drop? Do they go down and try and take on Divine? Those are the questions. I think for Fury and for Buriram, you've got to trust yourselves. You've got to back yourselves in and see if you can win it on your own terms. But look at this. Bay, Divine, Fury, Buriram. Are they all just hot dropping each other? What's going on right now? This looks like a Bay, Divine hot drop, potentially. Not confirmed yet. Of course, teams can still float away from each other. Levi's going to go straight down, but feels like the game has already started.
Yeah, this is a definite interesting start to our final game.
This is a Monka S time, by the way. This is just...
Definitely. This could go any which way, and Fury and Buriram very close by as well, so we could have an interesting start with a lot of our leading teams sort of coming in and fighting each other very early off the bat.
Oh my days, Neville, what are you doing? Of course, there's no guns right now, only vehicles. Bay have just completely hot dropped them. Turtle's knocked down by Flood. It's only Levi's trying to run away with a machete, but Flood's got the S868, whatever the numbers are. 2 are gone for Divine in the first 30 seconds.
Sophia gets knocked down by Nev as well.
What's going on?
Machete.
Машинами збиваються, на мачете бігають.
They've bolstered up. They've completely bolstered up. Divine have got 3. Levi's gets away. What has he done? I've never seen anything like that in my life of casting PUBG. Levi's escapes the
То була драка
inescapable.
тільки що.
That's a very interesting way to start the game, and we were saying it was looking like it was going to be okay. We've got more as Fury's
Oh my God.
Juxi in the car chasing down Canaxi in the buggy. So there's 2 in the car as well. So Juxi can just focus on shooting.
Has Buriram got guns? They don't have guns.
They
He's
do
going to
not.
try and line him up here with the Uzi. Juxi gets Canaxi. That's 1 on the board. He's going to hunt down Edie. Oh my days, but he's walking into the territory of Buriram United. Nordra's around there as well at the tree. He doesn't have a gun either. Everyone's just hot dropping everyone. This is bizarre. I've never seen anything like it. Nordra's got an AK though. It's the AK versus the Uzi. Misses the jump. Needs to start and get a knockdown. This could go disastrously wrong for Fury. Juxi with a drive-by will just take 1, confirm that. And just at the very least means that Buriram have only got 3. Get out for your lives. Stay up with 4 because right now out of the top 3 teams, Divine, Fury, and Buriram, it's only Fury with 4 still up. Nordra, that's ambitious, surely. Even you've got to admit that one. What a start. A crazy 3.5 minutes. Well, really, let's be real. The last minute and a half, that is just by God, I've never seen anything like that.
Таке місце було, телеки попадали, зброї нема.
Nothing like this. Even I'm
Там машинами давилися, на мачете билися. Один челік втік. Інші на багі їхали без зброї, а чел на дачі догнав з зішкою, одного вибив. Напарник їхав піднімати, той завернувся, розстріляв його нахрен.
Absolutely menacing start here for our last game. It just shows what the rest of the game's going to have in tow.
This is what PUBG is all about, though, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty and you've got yourself a close tournament and you are, you know, in this situation, a legitimate battle royale, 3 to 5 teams all vying for just that one game to be crowned winners. This is what PUBG can produce. Of course, it comes down to the players, whether or not they go for these sort of plays, but you've got to just say credit to pretty much all of them involved. Bay, Fury, Buram, Divine, all taking big chances in the final game. No one shying away from that, especially the likes of Bay and Fury taking it right up to them. There is our kill proportions, and the statistics are nice, but for this final game, it's all about the eye test now. The stats don't matter. You can be first in kills or fourth in kills as long as you win this final game. You may just win PCS2 Apac. Things just calm down. It's like this boiling pot is just back on simmering rather than the lid being blown up. But don't get it twisted. This game is not over. We're only 5 minutes in. It's just going to get better and better from here.
Yeah, by no means is this game over right now. We do see Fury's Waikika very close to God Meow, and I'm guessing God Meow knows that Waikika is close, so he's playing this very cautiously. You don't want to lose any more players early. And just off our start, we've gone into this little bit of a lull right now, and it's just... You just got to sort of catch your breath.
Well, it's not even a lull. It's just sort of the normal standard PUBG now has returned, which is the looting phase. These guys weren't looting. This is the beginning, by the way. Flood getting that initial knockdown. I have no idea how Levi's gets out alive and of that situation earlier on. It's just like an Assassin's Creed character or something jumping out of a building and riding away on a horse into the sunset from Levi's. And Divine have got 3 up rather than 2, and that's just so critical for the team that's in first position, having 3. I know it seems weird, Edge, but the difference between 3 and 2 is so dramatic.
It definitely is, and it can change the entire tempo of a game, especially when it's so close like it is now. If you play too passively, if you play too aggressively, you're lacking a member. You know, everything can change at the turn of a hat, and missing you one player just... It shakes up your entire play style.
We haven't really spoken too much about the circle, which is a bit more favored on the eastern side around Farm Milta region. So this is, of course, where a lot of the action has been taking place.
Хіро знає, що вони там по-англійськи пишуть. Я так поняв, яка карта на десерт, типу, яка залишилась. Ну, та залишились 2 Ерангеля і грають. Вибрав Ерангель. Bolt, блин, неправильно.
So these teams can all loot up. Jukesy coming from that section now, as you can see on your minimap. A minute 40 seconds remaining, but yes, they can now loot up. You can see he's got some utility, etc.
Yeah, it didn't really change too much for them, as we see the nice replay getting the
That's
flush
such
with
a
the
big
Uzi.
drive-by, though.
That is a baller play, and especially with the player hunting you with the AK. It's just such a...
Do you reckon he's shirtless Jukesy right now? He has to be, surely.
100%. He'd be sweating bullets right now. He can't be wearing a shirt.
Carbs taking some shots at something else from Game Home of Archangel Predator. Not only have they jumped out of the bottom 2, but they're up into 12th now, and they can potentially even get to 10th. This has been a huge turnaround for Archangel Predator from the Philippines this weekend in particular, and a little bit of last weekend too. Signs of the charity showdown Archangel Predator that we saw earlier on in the year, but Divine wounded and down to 3. They haven't really had great locations to loot either, whereas Buram have had the outskirts of Milta, Fury with, you know, that prison, mansion, lumber mill area they've been able to loot up. Nikus with a knockdown onto Yoshim and Buri. And you just wonder, though, have Bay... I mean, you just wonder this could be the story that you talk about for months, maybe even years to come. What if Bay gets Levi's. If Divine capitalize here now with 3 players up, that's going to be the talking point. If they get Levi's, they only got 2. That changes the game. And obviously, you can't sort of die wondering. The game's still alive right now, and there's still a story to be told. Bay will be wondering how he got out, though.
Yeah, that's right. I think if Bay had have picked up Levi's there, that could have put Divine into that that sort of playing for rank mode that they've been playing once they start to lose, you know, a couple of players. So that could have changed the entire tempo. It was just lucky enough that, you know, the circle had come and favored sort of Divine's area, so they didn't have to really keep rotating too much or make plays to get any sort of position. So pretty lucky for Divine and extremely lucky that Levi's actually got out with his life.
Full credit, though, of course, to Levi's for being able to get out from that situation. Circle moves up north for phase 2. Didn't have to. Just north of Shelter now for Divine Esports. Decent position for them. Fury coming in from behind, and then Buram United still just north of Milter. Of course, Buram have lost 1. Divine have lost 1. Bay with 4. VTR with 4. And Fury with 4. Astra going to try and clean out Basil here inside of the Wizzy Town. Zoid's going to be knocked down by Hisaki. And he should be able to get revived depending on if they've got the sight lines. But look at this, creeping up towards the compound of Divine. Insight Ronin on top of Shelter. They shouldn't have the information that is Divine over there. They won't be able to know that, and they may not even know there's a team in there fully confirmed until we see Divine shooting. Bay on the move as well. They make their way up just north of Farm, close by to MSC Theraton versus Cerberus up here on the hill. Extreme getting involved as well. Astra amongst it. Extreme knocked down by Yoshi Mimburi. Flood. Now, of course, Bay heavily behind in terms of points for first position. They will need a lot of kills this game. Astra's just been wiped out by Cerberus. They've lost all 4 members, and they will be the first team eliminated at the 10.5-minute mark.
Yeah, really rough tournament all in all for Astra here. They haven't had the run that maybe they would have liked or even expected, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with them now, but they really need to sort of take a step back and maybe think about what they need to do to keep putting some results on the board.
2 kills now for Battle Arena Elites ties them up with VTR, so 20 points behind Divine Esports. So the mathematical equation as it stands, obviously they need Divine to get 0. Admittedly, you would also need Fury and Buram to get very little. Then Bay or VTR need to get a 10-kill win. Well, sorry, 10 extra kill a win from here, especially if you're Bay. VTR would need just 10 kills and a win from here, so another Molotov going to go in. I don't think this one's landed, though. It may have got Ghoul a little bit, but Basil's fine. He'll throw out a smoke, try and clear that area. 55 seconds until phase 3. Not a lot of movement from Divine or Fury over towards that Shelter region. Buram behind them, and Bay close by as well. So if this circle shifts onto those 4 teams, it would need to do so by going to the southeast. Anything else, and it kind of is going to screw over at least one of them. Vega got knocked down, same with Yoshi Mimburi by Flash and Norrens of Day Trade. Bay just trying to pick apart the corpses outside of the Wizzy Town. They've done so. They've gotten 1, and now Neverhall moving up as well. Bay understand their mission here, Edge. You can see it by their playstyle. It's run and gun.
Yeah, absolutely. Bay have realized that they need to get as many kills as possible, so they're putting themselves in all of these advantageous positions to do so. And, you know, they've already got 5 kills, so they're off to a flying start. If they can keep this momentum up, you know, anything's possible at this point.
Yeah, they could very well. They're more than capable of getting a 20-kill win, winning off that for first place. Rossiter Jr. will catch Loki's off guard at the edge of this shack. They're going to lose 1, and that just makes things so difficult. And now they're going to lose Nephahor as well. They've just been swatted by Basil. Sophia with the nade. How things have turned, it's been the trend tonight. The story tonight is things can look good on paper, things can be looking good in general. There's that circle, and it went the opposite direction to where the top 3 teams needed it to go. It actually went to the southwest, right on top of this fight here. Sophia moving in, needs to clear out the right room, knows they're in there, sees the foot, just basically blows up his toes. The man is toeless now. Ghoul is gone. There's only 1 player left standing for Cerberus Esports. Bay are losing members, though, rapidly. How has Edie stayed alive? Never mind, he's knocked by Cow. That's a kill for Fury coming up. And it also means Buriram United are going to be down to 2 players. Cal takes a few shots though, wants to just move away. Not worth it. He had someone else coming in. Insight confirms it. There's Levi's knocked down though. Jayan's already eliminated. Diane is the last one standing for Divine Esports. Headshot behind the tree. Severely pressed. He has got a knockdown on Deboshi of Magic Esports. One over at the gas tanker though to his right hand side. Diane gets a knock, but he can't get a second. Divine are out. 188 points, their final standing margin. Fury, Buriram, the golden ticket's in your hands.
5 points is all that's needed for Fury right now. Fury still with 4 players up. Buriram with 2 players, but it's still in reach for them as well. As long as they can keep their players alive and make it late game, it is incredibly possible. Divine have just done the unimaginable and choked this tournament from a position that at the midway point we were saying it was unchokeable.
Yeah, they had a 50-plus point lead. We thought it was over at one point, that they were going to just run away with it. They could have had a 70-plus point lead, but through a certain game, and then since then, they've just done nothing but collapse. Now, in saying that, the job's not done yet. Buriram have got 2 players alive. Fury have got 4. They're still, though, 4 points behind Divine. I may be wrong, but I think they could actually have the kill differential if it comes down to that. But Fury, they should very well know if they're doing their fact checking in terms of the kill feed that they have got an opportunity. So does Buriram. Not only that, but Victim Rise have still got 4 players up. They're over at Potato Hill. Of course, that does mean they still need to go and have a big game. Bay are out, by the way. They're on 173 points in 4th place. Buriram with 2 players. Can they go and get the 9 points required? That's the question. There's still all the chance in the world that Divine still win this if things don't go the way for Fury, Buriram, or VTR.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There's still a lot of work for Fury and Buriram to do right now.
Which is merged together. And
yeah, that's it.
Where's the circle going to go, though? This is going to be a big one. It moves away from Fury. They've got some work to do. They don't need a whole lot. As we can see, only a couple of kills will do the trick. Nordra, God Meow are going to have to leave farm, and they're close by to day trade. Fury, what's the play here, Edge? If you're in this situation, what do?
I feel like Fury right now, they either control the top hill, which is probably their most likely play, and go for as many kills as possible. Because you can't really send it anywhere with no information. I think they just need to take this top hill and start fighting.
Fury's on the move. Is this do or die time? Cal's going to send it out. He'll scout forward, see if he takes any shots. No one's going to shoot at him just yet. There is a Wizzy Tower right in front of him. God Meow goes for the seat swap. No, never mind, changes his mind. There's the rest of Fury from behind. Rossiter Jr. on the move as well for MSC Theraton. God Meow taken down to 64 health. Of course, one of the duos for Buriram United gets inside of the shack. Ronan with a bit of damage onto him. Still inside of the Dacia. He's got the information. Cal's low, but he gets inside of the Wizzy Tower. Flash. Oh, knocked down though. Cal's gone down to Nordra. Buriram United. Nordra's knocked down. That's from Flash of Day Trade. It's casualties galore, but this is exactly what Divine wants right now. Ronan almost flipping the Dacia like it's a bike, but they get inside. Cal knocked, Ronan knocked, Insight Jukesy still up. They're 3 points away from Divine, but they're so far away from placement points. They need kills. And if they can get these revives, though, maybe play from the Wizzy Tower, they are inside of the circle. Day Trade could push on them, though. And if they do so, very easy to throw a nade or a Molotov in there and really spoil the party. It would be heartbreaking for Fury, but it would be well played from Day Trade, knowing that there's 2 knocked. This is the prime time to push on them. There it is. Poochills, Beryl, Molotov. One hops out. Ronan's low. Can't get a heal off in time. Is he sitting in the window? No, he's sitting on one of the shacks or something. Day Trade have only got the 3 players. This is so aggressive. Insight knocked. Insight's not flushed, though, because the barrel's low. Needs to get reloaded. Fury, are they on the verge of just missing out on top spot by 3 points? It would be devastating. Poochills takes out Insight, gets Ronan. I think there's only one standing up. It's White Kicker Mukau that's alive for Fury. It's do or die time. Knockdown, Poochills. It's Jukesy who's up. They've got 2. I'm wrong with my assumption that it was only Cow. They've got 2 standing. It's Jukesy and White Kicker Mukau. Jukesy over at Farm, Cow inside of the Wizzy Tower, and Hope is still alive.
Yeah, my heart cannot handle this action right now. This is so close. What is it? Only 2 points
2
in it?
kills.
3 points in it.
2 kills away. Of course, Buriram down to 1 player. 9 points behind Divine. You'd think it's over for Buriram's sake. Obviously for Divine, it's over for them in terms of being able to get anything extra, but they're just praying right now that Fury go out. VTR've still got 4 players up, and they do control a lot of the western portion of this circle, but Edge, I doubt whether or not they're going to be able to get the kills required, plus the win. It could happen, but they need to get a move on and start finding kills. They're in 5th place right now, 4 points behind Bay for Victim Rise of Indonesia. Of course, Buriram, 1 player. It's God Meow. I don't think he's going to be able to overtake Divine, and I actually don't even think he's going to be able to overtake Fury. But can Fury, with 2 players up, find 2 kills? That's what they need. Jukes is still over towards Farm, inside of the circle, just keeping watch. But if he gets knocked, he's out. Cow gets knocked, he's out. It's as simple as that. That's a placement point. They're on a placement point. They're 1 point behind Divine. 1 point, but the circle moves away from Cow and Jukesy. God Meow is still in, but he's spotted from X Stadium. Flash still alive for Day Trade as well. Out to the far east. You can see it on your map. How those 3 players are not inside of the circle. How can Fury get in? How can they find just 1 more point? I've never seen something this close. It's the final game for PCS2 Apac. Can they get this final point, Edge? The smokes are out. It's the final ones. There it is. Last smoke from Cal. He makes the run towards God Meow. That could be the point they need. God Meow's the closest player at this shack, and Jukesy has spotted him. He sees him inside of the shack. That's information. A nade! Cal could win it on a nade. If it goes inside, he primes it. He throws it. He gets the nade! Fury are in 1st place, I think. No, they're not. They need 1 more. They need 1 more point. They're tied, and they don't have the kill tiebreaker. Jukesy on 2 kills. Cal's on 2, but he's low. He's inside. He's knocked by Meow Yu. Jukesy's got to find 1 kill. Meow Yu might not have the angle on Jukesy, but Jukesy's on 2 smokes. They're going to lose it on a tie. He's only got 1 more smoke after this. I thought they had it. I thought they had the differential, but apparently they don't. X Stadium through Tuck are going to send them packing. Tied. Can you believe it? 7 teams. Maybe if a team goes out right now, Fury will win. Fury need to just keep Jukesy alive. But look at Meow Yu with the Orm. Jukesy's down to half health. I think they're going to fall short by 1 point unless a team dies, but I don't see anyone fighting on the map. Everyone else is safe. They're all sound. Jukesy's about to die here. If he takes a couple more bullets, now he's the only player in this vicinity. He's got a bike. He's got a bike and he's got a Wizzy Tower. This game just keeps taking turn after turn after turn. Final first aid kit, 2 nades, and a prayer and a bike for Jukesy, and a couple of supplies hidden inside. It's a second chance. Now the thing is, Edge, 7 teams. If it goes down to 6, he will get an extra placement point. They will win. It's as simple as that. A kill or hope that someone else dies. He has to move, though. He has to get inside of the circle. He has to also try and apply a stim. Heal up. Get as much health as possible. Magic Esports with the compound. South side. They will be able to spot him coming in. 2 players up for Day Trade. 2 players up for Division X up north. Those are the 2 teams that might be able to go out. X Stadium, Magic, Archangel Predator, all safe in the center of the map, and VTR with 4 players. There's a lot of work that needs to go right for Jukesy. Everything has to go right from here.
There is so many circumstances riding on this right now, and it's just coming down to the wire. Jukesy, either a kill or a placement point here.
Oh my God, he's getting shot at.
For that wizard tower, he got tagged.
He's in.
He's able to survive for
now,
he got the
and
he
circle
gets
feed.
The circle as well.
Oh,
but it looks like XS is starting to make a push onto this. They're starting to put themselves in aggressive positions.
Oh my God, they're going to push on him.
They know that it's Jukesy, and they don't want Fury to win this tournament.
Meow Yu.
Nade comes out from Meow Yu.
Can he win this, though? He needs just 1 kill, taken down very low. He can't get it. Hongvu will send Jukesy packing. Fury, tied first, are going to fall short. We believe they're going to fall short. The rankings would have put them in first had they had the kill differential. Who knows? It could be tied kills. I don't know the full repercussions here, but we have to just go off what we can see on the rankings, and that is Divine plays in first place. The pick'ems are safe, Edge. Divine are going to win PCS2 Apac by literally the slimmest of margins, and when Fury realize how close they got, they will feel shattered, but they should also feel proud for what they've been able to accomplish. They absolutely put everything into it. They fell just short, and they said they were going to finish first. Technically, they did.
On a technicality, they do have the same points as your first place team. So if I'm Fury, I'm extremely proud, extremely happy with the result. They've shown a lot. They've shown that they've come a long way, and the same as Buram. They're a team that's been up there and been doing so much work.
So I can confirm here right now, they are both tied in placement and kills. They go to the third tiebreaker value, which is the highest match total point. Divine is higher at 26 points. Fury had 16 as their best match. Divine Esports are your winners for PCS2 Apac. This is the final game. This is it. It's all done unless VTR can somehow go and get 17 points to close it out. That's, of course, sort of the last anomaly here. But your pick'ems are safe. Divine are the winners. They hold on to the crown just barely by a fingernail as we finish off the action here. Division X Gaming down to Long K as X Stadium were the ones that put the final nail in the Fury coffin, just as they did in the game prior with that bridge camp. The team in last place has always been able to still affect first place, and they never gave up on that. They didn't give up on being able to affect the outcome of PCS2 Apac, whether it's 16th or whether it's first, everyone can still play to the highest potential. What a way to finish off PCS2 Apac, Edge. It just gave us everything in the end.
Yeah, what a set of games it's been. And for teams like X Stadium as well right now, they're going to be playing to try and get themselves off the bottom of the leaderboard. They're going to try and push up into that 15th position, and you've got teams like Archangel Predator fighting for that 10th position. VTR trying to push themselves into that top 3. Everyone's still playing to their best ability, and everybody's still trying to get this right now.
That's a lot of money difference as well between first and second, Edge. That is a lot. That's a big difference. 40% of the prize pool or 17%. Obviously, Fury should still feel very happy with second place, but I mean, if I was in that position, I'm just going to be downright honest. I would be completely devastated mentally, physically. VTR, though, 3 players up. They're still in it, but I don't even know. Is there enough players left alive? 1, 4, 8... I don't think so. I don't think they can do it. Even if they were to wipe the... If they were able to wipe the lobby, 182 plus 6, maybe. They would have to wipe the whole lobby, but that's not happening with Boshi getting the knockdown onto Samoi. X Stadium, though, what a way to finish off the tournament for them as well, Edge. Having just a massive impact on the entire tournament as a whole. Yeah,
that's right. They're definitely the decision makers for these games, being able to essentially bridge camp and hold out Fury for 2 games in a row. So these guys have definitely changed the tide of the game and realistically gifted Divine the win.
Well, it's all come down to probably a bit of a slow finish here because of the amount of buildings that are actually still in here for Phase 7. VTR only the 2 kills as well, kind of makes things difficult. But they've been able to overtake Bay. That's a step in the right direction for Victim Rise. And with the 2 players, could still maybe get over Buram, but it's tough from here. Archangel Predator, 110 points. They've jumped up to 11th, and with 1 player left alive, could still get a top 10 finish for them, thanks to Killer, Magic Esports, and X Stadium rounding out the final 2 other teams. Final Phase 8 we go, and it should still keep the majority of teams in. It does. Everyone's still comfortable with the buildings. Well, this is going to go down to Phase 9. Of course, if you just tuned in with...
Тут є в команді чел Killer.
I'd recommend you go and watch the VOD. To be truthfully honest, we've had the action. It's all come to a close. Divine are your winners. The PCS2 Apac, Fury second, Buram third as it stands. VTR, though, with 3 players up, could still maybe overtake Buram.
Yeah, that's right. VTR still got a lot of work to do. They do have 3 players still surviving, and they have the central point for Phase 9. So they do have the best position for this current zone. And like even Archangel Predator right now, they're 1 point away from making top 10. So they're going to be trying to get that 1 point, whether it comes from position or getting a kill here on Magic Gaming. It doesn't look like Killer's potentially going to be able to do much as he is getting Molotov'd, but X Stadium could be the thorn in the side here as well for Magic Gaming, who are looking like they potentially
Я
have
в шоці,
the
як
high
на
ground
екстрим
that might be
глючить, блін.
needed to take this game away.
You just sort of watching on Tonke. 4 players still up for Magic Esports. Chance for them to maybe find their first chicken dinner here. Killer. He's going to be taken out. By the way, as well, Edge, that for Fury, had they been able to get that 1 extra point, they would have actually won without ever winning. Oh, so close.
But yet so far.
Of course, though, for for Divine's sake, they would be looking back at this tournament and saying, you know what, we should have won 10 rounds ago. And there's definitely work for them to improve on, and that's kind of a scary thought. The Divine over the first 12 games just was untouchable, and the last 12 games did show some of their weaknesses, but a deserved winner by the end of it for Divine Esports, and obviously a pleasant news for everyone with the pick'ems. Kamals, Samoy, Genforce, what can VTR do here? Certainly massive chance now to overtake Buriram and get that 3rd place finish, which is a hefty pay rise if they can achieve it. Still a lot on the line for them. That nade's going to fall short of the mark against Tonke. Valix really further back. So it's Boshi, Sulubi, and Tonke up close. And what is now essentially a 3v3. Genforce, though, knocked out immediately. At least a refrag from Samoy. Victim Rise need every kill they can get here in this fight against Magic Esports if they want to get into the top 3 by the end of it. Samoy struggling to see out of that window, wants to go inside the building, but he's basically Molotov'd out of it. He has to
Та от іменно, що вони людей закрили, блядь, тут нічого не мають, нічого не розвивають, я не знаю, звідки вони планують гроші брати, блядь. Ну ви під час карантину висмоктали лише з людей гроші. Що далі? Що далі, блядь?
Apac, Jaken on the side, just sat down though by Boshi. Quick headshot for Magic Esports for a second one.
Люди, блядь, хоч за границі привозили якесь бабло, блядь, тепер...
Tonke almost got him.
Кажуть, на Україну, вибирайте, блядь, чи москалі, чи поляки, блядь.
Is still a chance to be revived. Flash grenade just going to land onto Meow on top of the roof. Hasn't been spotted yet and could really just play spoil here from above. Tonke was never going to be able to see him from there. Another kill for X Stadium. Salabi, of course, now they got the information against Meow. VTR, can they find a way into that 3rd place finish? Samoy, Kamal still alive.
Yeah, VTR are just biding their time right now, staying alive, trying to get that extra position, get those extra 2 points, eventually pick up the win to push them into that 3rd place. So, well played by them. There's 2 players left for X Stadium. 1 has been knocked out right now. It's still 2 on VTR and 2 for Magic Gaming. I see this as being a definite zone for VTR as they do have the central
парламентські, ой, до місцевих, а потім будуть парламентські.
Teams pushing in and we're down to a 1v1v2, so VTR technically has a big advantage.
They got the numbers, as you said, yeah, and a big advantage, and if they can actually win this game, they will get 3rd place. Kamals, he's going to be knocked down. Samoy still alive though, just sitting inside of the smoke as it starts to dissipate. Magic
Вибирайте собі країну.
Samoy just going to try and hold on and hope that the other member of Magic Esports is going to bail out. Meow though gets down to the last second. First aid kit. Will it go off in time? No, it won't. X Stadium are going to find a chicken dinner on the final game. X Stadium, 11 kill, and they actually jump off the bottom of the standings in the final moments, the final game. But it's all about the champion, the crown, placed firmly on the heads of Divine Esports. Congratulations for the PCS2 champions. They take out top spot, tied on points with Fury, but they beat them in the... Well, actually, they tied on points, they tied on kill break, and they also win, though, on the best match overall, 26-16. So it went to a 3rd tiebreaker edge. That's how close it was. But still, Divine, you go back to the first 12 games and you would have said deserved winners. You watch only the last 12 games and you would say, how did they win it? But they had done a lot of the damage in the first 12 games. And the thing is, at the end of the day, about PUBG, we play 24 games. We don't just play 1, you play 24. Obviously, Divine did a lot of their work early on, and they are deserved winners.
Челіку, що зимно, блін, закутався, як не знати, що, блін, чуть не в шубу, чи що то там, блін.
Come back to bite Fury in the backside because Divine had that 26 points, so that's a win and 16 kills. If Fury potentially had a win as well, that can put them up a lot closer. But the highest placing they ever had was a second place. So, you know, all in all, it could have bit them in the back.
100%. But what about this season? What about this climatic finish? I mean, seriously, best region to watch for PCS by far. And if you only tuned in tonight, really, a lot of PCS2 Apac is very much similar.
Ззаді камін горить, хтось закутався, хто знає як, то де він живе, хрен не знає.
Are they going to be able to break this curse that has been holding on to the winners for PCS Apac? Charity Showdown, Division X, they didn't make PCS1. PCS1, Q confirmed, they didn't make PCS2. Divide, winners for PCS2. Will they make PCS3? There is our match leaderboard. X Stadium, 21 points. They get off the bottom of the standings with that performance. And not only did they win this game, they also tore out the hearts of all the fans of Fury by sending out Jukesy and pushing him at the end. The total leaderboard, though, to all but confirm it. Look at how close that was. Both of them, 72 placement points. Both of them, 116 kill points. 188 apiece. 5 chicken dinners to 0, but ultimately it came down to the best
Divine мають
which was
одинаково
26 points for Divine and Fury, which
очків.
I guess considering they never actually won a game, it's not
188.
too hard to believe, but only 16 points was the most amount of points they got in the match.
Yeah, absolute madness coming out from all of our top teams there. It's been so absolutely close, and again, it just comes down to not being able to convert some of those games, and Divine showed us early that they could absolutely convert games.
100%. Look, we've spoken about it at length, really. The last 5 to 6 games has all been about Divine, Fury, Buram, to an extent, Bay and VTR, this top 5, and I'm just so glad with how this season finished because, you know, Charity Showdown, PCS1, we had those runaway winners, and this was really deserving for what is an amazing region to watch. Very underrated. You know, a lot of people talk about Asia and Europe, but APAC has a lot of talent. It's got a lot of great fans as well, and it's got some really top-tier teams. You know, a team like Divine has shown that they are world-class. Now, unfortunately, we're not Vietnamese, so we can't speak to Divine and congratulate them in person, but we can speak to a couple of members of Team Fury. Of course, basically tied first, but fellas, tied first isn't actually first, it's second. What can I say? That was obviously heartbreaking, but I just want to say firstly, congratulations, because you certainly made everyone proud with your efforts.
Thanks so much. I don't know what to say, like...
I'm emotionless.
В общем, все, на тому кінець.